It's a grizzly.
Should we get out of here?
No. We're gonna watch and listen.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of Cat's Chit Chat Corner with Grizzly on the Hunt with psychic medium Sonia somewhere. Evidently, I set out the wrong links, ladies and gentlemen. So, yes, during my illness, I was feeling bad on the last show. I had to lay down and recuperate. But Grizzly is back. Thanks for all the healing. So, Cat, how are you doing?
I'm not bad. I didn't know you were a crook.
Yeah, so I was like really feeling like awful. I felt off all day today, and everybody's like, they were sending me vitamin, and lo and behold, ladies and gentlemen, guess who just stumbled in? Hello there.
Yes, Sonia.
You sent me the wrong one.
I told everybody it was my fault. It was my fault because I was like, I'm here, and I'm like, I'm not seeing anybody. I'm like, I'm gonna do it by myself. I'm ready. So yes,
well,
I feel a lot better.
I realized because I had a Zoom meeting for the To the Moon meeting or the burn I'm doing around here. I didn't have the right shirt on. I had like my old ratty T-shirt on. And I was like entering the studio. I was like, oh no, I need a shirt.
A bit like that.
Well, hello, Liana King. Welcome back to the show. Welcome to the show. How's everybody doing? So, Kat, how you been doing?
Yeah, I've been behaving this week.
Behaving? Yeah. You? No, I don't think so.
Are you okay?
Yeah. I've had that same mind fog you've had. And then the last 3 days, I've had this ticker I can't get rid of. You know.
Ticker.
Yeah, ticker.
Oh, your heart.
Yeah, it's an anxious feeling.
Welcome back.
Yeah.
Look at me. Thanks for y'all's good vibrations. I feel a lot better, ladies and gentlemen. So, yes,
I
am ready to. Yeah, last show, I had to, cut it. Like, a few minutes early, I felt so bad. I was doing everything I could to hold my head up. Everybody's like, vibes, Grizzly. We're going to send you some healing vibes. And I was like, my body's vibrating. So, yes, I feel much better. I do not like feeling bad. You know, so yes, Twisted Witch. Hopefully she is getting better. So hello everybody. So what is going on with you, Sonia? I got a lecture today again about her. So yes. So I have to profess my love for her. Yes, I do love her with all my heart. I'm sorry for treating you awful and not giving you a chance to speak. And hey, watch this. You want to see her getting real embarrassed real quick and watch her blush? Watch this. Did we not have fun earlier?
What?
He's a naughty boy, Sonia.
Well, I hope we're both. I am crazy witch. I'm feeling a lot better. Look at Sonia's face. Well, look at her glow.
And I didn't hear
a ball, ladies and gentlemen. Now, you didn't play stupid. No. But anyways, she made me feel a whole lot better. Yeah.
Jolly good, Chrissy.
So she did. Then she told me not to do what I was about to do, and I was even more not to eat what I was about to eat. because I was feeling a lot better. And I told her when I got done eating, I was like, I don't feel good. But I felt good earlier. Whoa, I was in like, woohoo, wee. Yes, Liana King, it was amazing. So it was. That's
So you could
great.
feel that, Grizzy? You could feel the healing coming through?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It scared me.
Yeah, it is at first.
My body was vibrating.
He started feeling better, and then he went and ate a bunch of chili, and it just kind of like.
Oh man, yeah. It was like, you know what? I told my buddy from FDL Paranormal. He goes, dude. He said, haven't you been sick all day? I'm like, yeah. I said, two things are going to happen. Either I'm going to feel great, or something bad is going to be happening. And he started laughing, and Twisted Wit sent some sending healing vibe, and I did. I felt it on the air. Her and some other people, and it scared me. I was like, my body's vibrating. Now, I can only imagine what the people on the audio end's going to hear this tomorrow, what it's going to sound like.
I'm vibrating.
But, yeah, I was. So, yeah. But, hey, well, never mind. I'll really make her blush, but I won't do that.
No.
I love her to death. Look at her. Picky. Hey, Picky. But that's old thing we used to go and do when I was younger, but the Picky thing. But anyways. So how have you been, Sonia?
Much better
I think Hootie Hoo.
Yeah,
and
she's much better.
Woo,
Yeah,
you know, we're like woo girls. We all have our.
So
yeah. Things are good here.
Yeah, they are.
Like except for like the brain fog. The brain fog has been a little overwhelming, like the last couple weeks. Yeah. It's night and away.
It was like it's still a little bit like that, but in that brain fog area, it was like between planes. There's no way I could ground at all. And
I think she froze. Look at her.
Yep, she's shocked.
Look at her.
Yeah, yeah. And then when the brain freeze defrosted.
Did you really? I'm listening. I'm sorry, Kat.
That's all right. I can always ramble on. Yeah, when the brain freeze kind of disappeared, that's when all the ticker came in. And it was like coming back down to ground again. And this kind of feeling of before you ground, it's kind of all shaky-waky. Very odd feelings.
Yeah, I've been standing out in the grass the last few days with barefoot just to try to ground myself better. But I can't. It's turned into like what you said, like from not being able to produce a sentence to being able. Now I'm just stuttering through sentences.
Same here.
Like,
and I'm having blanks. Like I'll like just cut out and just go blank.
In the middle of a sentence, you'll be talking about something you know about, and then you can't remember anything that you were even talking about. Like,
yep.
Oh, it was awful. Hey, Mort, welcome back. Welcome back. But you know what was real bad was that yesterday when we was doing the show, you'd ask her a question and she'd go, yeah, so that it what was I saying?
I'd be the
same. And I was just like, it's almost sound like damn Porky the Pig. That's all, folks.
Awful, because I was also watching. I have a 4-year-old autistic nephew, and I was watching him too, and I talk to him telepathically, and he constantly rambles in his head, like when he's talking, and I can constantly hear him, and he's a handful to like watch anyway. So, there's a lot of energy that goes into him. And between that and trying to, like, I couldn't read cards. I had a hard time. I couldn't channel. I couldn't make words to talk to people. It was just.
Oh, no. She turned the phone around and was like, look what he's doing. He was on top of a 12-foot shed, just standing on top of
the swing set. He was on the very top of the swing set. And I was like, okay.
Like and Titanic.
Oh my God.
And I told Grizzly during the show, that's what he was doing during the show. And I was trying to like chase him down and make him come down. And all these people kept asking me questions. And it was just like, I couldn't handle myself. It was awful. I felt like I felt special for a moment. Like I couldn't. I was just going to
I was telling Stannis, don't welcome back. Listen to me, Stannis. Don't feel much better. I got all those good
He's
vibrations.
come back cheekier than
Yes.
normal.
I mean, I was trying to sing happy birthday, and it sounded like I was in a funeral procession. Because Laurel's birthday's today, Sonia.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, happy birthday, Laurel. Oh my god. You know what? She asked me when my birthday was today, and I was like January 13th, and I was like, that's
Hint, hint.
oh, I feel so bad. Ah!
Yes, I know. So hopefully she comes back on so I can give her a proper happy birthday song. But I sound terrible, Cat. I mean, I was like holding my head up, and I'm like, if I had a stick that would fit behind my green stand where I got to prop my head up and do the show, I was actually going to call Sonia a few minutes ago, but like, look, you all two are going to do the show. I'm going to do the controls for my chase, and I'm going to just use one of my backdrops and lay down and do the show with you and put the backdrop behind me. That way you won't know. It looks like I'm sitting up. I had all this planned. Did she freeze again?
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, you just looking at me like.
Only your face. Your
No,
voice hasn't
I gotta
frozen.
go. I have to go like wish Laurel a happy birthday. Like I can't wait. I'm like, oh my
Oh, you
god.
do that.
Standing stones. I needed it in here
Yeah.
earlier, but Sonia, she did a number on me. So hang on. We'll hang on for you. Always
Yeah.
keep that handy. But yeah.
And Grizz, you know how the I can't say it anymore. Your coloured jingle jangles. You know when
Yes.
they were going off last week when we were mucking around?
Uh-huh.
Do you think they were going off because of the vibration as opposed to like, because you know how we were laughing and carrying on and then it would light up and then we were mucking around trying to talk to it and stuff and then it'd light up again. Do you reckon it's from the vibrations of us?
I have no idea. Are you still with us, Sonia, or do I need to kick you and bring you back?
I think she might be phoning a friend.
No, I'm right here. I'm
Okay.
right here. I had
So
to go wish Laurel a happy birthday.
They actually turned off the balls. That's why they wouldn't light up anymore. After the show, I picked it up and I was like, it's not lighting up. I had to click it to make it work again. I was like, no, shut the door. I'm like, you got to be joking. Now, ladies and gentlemen, and I got a peanut gallery of dolls above my head. Now, I'm not touching one, so don't get excited. I've got these extra devices to where if they talk, it's like the one I have here, but look at me. It's like when I talk, it measures the voice and it picks up the ambient noise. So if I can hold it straight. So every time I talk, the louder I talk or the softer I talk.
Yeah, then it vibrates.
Right. And it picks up. So I've got two of these on each end of the dolls, but they're a little more fancier. So when I'm not talking, I'll watch them. And because I'll hear things in my headset, and I know it's not Sonia's house because she doesn't have any kids over. And I know you or nobody at your house right now. Yes. So, so yeah. So now what was really strange though, since you brought up the cat balls,
you can say it. I
just had a whole box of them and they're gone.
Really?
So, I don't know. Yeah. So I was with one of my studio lights around. I have no idea. And I just had them like right before the show.
It's so weird. Like
stuff disappears around here. I don't get it. So
that voice was weird though. Like that was freaky.
Yes.
Clear as day, and there's nothing else could come through.
No, and we were what was it? FDL Paranormal. I think it was Michael or somebody else. I was speaking to somebody. No, it was somebody from Scotland or Ireland. I was speaking with, and I was like, "Did you hear that?" They're like, "Yeah, it's on your end." I'm like,
tricky.
No, it sounded like it was on your end. She was like, no, it's on your end. I was like, oh, okay. Because we're broadcasting on 2 of her stations right now. So the whole box of, are she frozen in or she?
Yes.
Kind of.
Okay. But
Oh
anyways,
my God.
my case of cat balls, yes. So I was going to play the Boomerang song. Actually, Standing Stones, I have to send that to her because of YouTube. Now, my other platforms don't care about me playing copyrighted music, but YouTube, Lord have mercy. You play 3 seconds of a song like Shazam and they pick it up, man, they zap you. They turn off your show, and next thing you know, we're back in the black and white TV mode where only thing you do see is this.
Oh.
No audio at all. They cut it all. They take it all out. So I meant to tell you that last show, but I was feeling so bad. But thanks for the reminder because I'll send that to her after this show. Yeah, there's a Boomerang song that he sent me a while back ago for you to listen to. You probably never heard of it from being from Australia because I talked to some other Australians and I was like, I got to ask you a question. And they're like, what? And I'm like, have you ever played cornhole? And they looked at me and they're like,
Uh-oh.
we don't think this is funny. And I'm like, what? I'm like, it's a game. I'm like, hold up. Before y'all do anything, I said, one of y'all, I said, I'll take that back. 2 of y'all out of the 3 is getting ready to Google that. Now, before you Google that, put game of cornhole in front.
Yes.
And they lost it because 2 out of the 3 did what I said, but the third one was like, good gracious. I'm like, yes. I said, I almost did that live on the show.
It has a different name. It has a different name in the UK. I forget what they call it, but they call it something different. So they do have the game. It's just called something different completely.
Cat.
Come to find out.
Somebody asked me if I had thongs. And I was like, yes, that's
not throwing thongs as in undies, throwing thongs as in sandals.
Well, we don't call them over here thongs.
My grandmother still calls sandals thongs. And my mom called me one day. She's like, yeah, your grandma's got some thongs for you. I was like, she's got what now?
Yes,
my grandma's got what for me? Yeah,
sandals. People, bless their hearts tomorrow.
You gotta think how I felt. Like I thought my grandmother was trying to buy me thongs.
Yeah, it's funny.
I have good taste.
I have heard the Boomerang Won't Come Back song, and some of the ladies last week, I didn't get a chance to answer, were asking me did I have any favorite cases that I worked on.
Oh,
years and years.
After you got done, I got something to tell you guys.
Okay, cool.
This cat balls is really like throwing me for a loop. I just had the case of them.
That's weird.
And I never keep them besides. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry for really interrupting once again.
No, it's all right. I really like your background too, but while I interrupt. So big cases I didn't get a chance to say last week. Years ago, I started my first case, probably remote viewing and dowsing, was with Maddie McGann. And I keep following that for years and years and years. They think they've found her at the moment in some dig, but I haven't heard the latest. And then I spent a lot of time on Daniel Morecambe, who was an Australian little boy. He went missing.
Right.
In one way, I don't mean to sound up myself, but in this situation, he was quite easy to find for me because where he was situated was on a creek bed, kind of a little river. It's the only river that flowed a certain way. So he was quite easy to find, as far as find. Yeah.
Right.
And then I've done a lot of work on William Tyrrell. I don't know if you've heard of him. Another little boy went missing down here. He's been gone a long time now. Really odd, very similar to one of those cases we're looking at over your way. But yeah, Maddie McGann's what started me off. And it was really strange because I ended up with Scotland Yard when it first happened. They were fantastic. And then about 18 months ago, they had this photo they showed on TV or somewhere of, that Epstein, the wife. The
Oh
short black hair.
yeah, the crooked woman.
Yeah,
The
yeah. They
Maxwell.
showed a photo of
Maxwell.
her and the two brothers, and it was identical to the drawing I did way back then. And all the
No.
descriptions, it was, it freaked me right out. Yeah. Like,
No, that's wild.
yeah, I know. So, yeah,
So-
I do like I have some favourite cases. Not favourite, but I don't,
I wonder
hard
how many
ones.
of the children that we try to pinpoint. I wonder how many of them end up in that situation. I do. I wonder because I mean, America's biggest import, I think, at this point is sex trafficking.
Oh,
Yeah.
you can't say that on YouTube.
On the
Sorry.
orders.
Yeah, so you can't say that. Sorry.
Yeah, that's why
Yeah,
I'm
the wipers.
I'm
That's
keeping
why
up
we call it STs. But we need to
What,
figure
ST?
something else because because
ST.
it sounds like you're saying STDs, but
It does sound. That sounds even
Yeah.
worse.
Yeah.
I know. But I just want to let you know, I've got a news reporter coming on Friday with the family about our new case we're going to do, and I told the reporter straight up, and I'm like, look, and I didn't know the family was in the chat room with me.
Wow.
And I'm like, things are going to come out you probably want to prep them for. And she's like, what do you mean? I'm like, okay, look, I can't talk about the case because both of y'all are, but somebody just don't go, and I won't say nothing else. And then one,
That's really.
and then one of the family members was like, well, we don't want to impede the police officers' investigation. It's been a year and a half.
Exactly.
And boy, did I start getting vibes. And I'm like, yep, shut it down. So I'm having a conference call tomorrow with the family members. I'm going to write down each family member's name, who's on the call. And I told the news reporter, you have to be on the call with me for this to happen. And and I told
That's
the news
exciting.
reporter that during the reveal part, I would probably have whoever that they are under suspicion, better watch them because things are going to start
At least
moving.
that family, at least their like involvement seems like they're involved. Like not like
But
other
one
cases,
didn't want
like
it.
other
One
people.
was like, no. And I was like, what do you mean, no? I got defensive. And I was like, whoa. Then I started picking up vibes. I'm like, yep, I'm down. I'm shutting it down right there. And I got right off. Yeah, crazy witch.
Is that the one we did or the one coming up that I can't
No,
watch?
I'm not saying nothing else. This is
Okay,
a new
so
one.
I'm not going to watch any of those until you let me know. Okay.
But I was telling the reporter on the side and the family members, which, things are going to come out that you probably don't know about.
Good.
So just prepare yourself. I'm just like, I have to tell you that because, whatever's going to happen is going to happen.
Yeah.
And when that other family member said something, I was like, whoa. And then I start picking up all these vibrations and in senses. And I'm like, oh no. And I shut that conversation right now very quickly. And I still can't find my cat balls. And this is driving me nuts. The whole case is missing. So yeah, so it's going to be interesting.
You know that survey I did last week? Oh, sorry, Sonia.
No, I just said that's weird.
Yeah, I got my final report back from my hypothetical survey. It's totally thrown me, like totally, absolutely. And then one person said that they don't agree with missing. Like if you say missing, you're more or less front loading them. And I said, oh, okay, I understand that because if you're saying, is this person missing in general, they may not be missing when the perpetrator's with them. They're not missing at all. You know what I mean?
Right,
So
they're not missing. Somebody knows where they are.
Point.
Right.
Yeah.
So what we use in law enforcement is U2L, unable to locate.
Oh, okay, that's better. Okay, yes. I like that. I'm going to use that from now on. UTL.
I was picking up the vibes where they were hidden, and they were like in a place where nowhere they should have been. So, yeah.
What's it stand for again?
Unable to locate. Union, Tom, Lincoln. So
okay, got it. Okay, I'm going to use that from now on. I thought I might use misplaced, but that doesn't really work either. Because misplaced to whom? You know, to the perp, to the stick them down, Grizzy. But yeah, I thought that was a good point. And someone wasn't. Another good point was when you're putting proof of life. That we spoke about death. You know, like death as to brain dead. You know, do they have a heartbeat? La 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 la. So now I'm refining my question again to include a lot more for proof of life, because that coma in and out of that other case thing, I've never struck something like that. That really woke me up, because to me, I thought the lady thinks the person was dead, but they weren't dead. You know, they were just coming in and out of coma. I thought that was amazing.
Well, people, like you said, and if you completely kill yourself and kill that person off on the inside of you and start a new life, and you forget that person is dead.
Exactly.
I mean,
and
it really is that. And it's if people cut themselves off like that, they're not you can't locate them as that person. You need to know their new identity.
Yeah, that's right.
And so, your belief in who you are makes you who you are almost.
But let me ask you this then, hypothetically. Let's say that I'm in a place I do not want to be. I'm very depressed and I'm suicidal and I want to die. And somebody's trying to read me. You know, are you picking up on my death, thoughts?
No.
You know, I don't know. I've never experienced that. That's why I'm asking.
You could pick up on the distress that you're in. Yeah, there's that. You could pick up on that.
Yeah.
That just.
It turned it off. Did you
and the
see
light
it?
Wouldn't be bright.
I told you they're turning the damn things off. Now watch. I'll hit the button again. Did you see it when I hit the button? It flashed.
It's flashing.
And it's not. They're turning the dang on button off.
Ah, we're friends.
Unbelievable, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, like Sonia, like you say, when a person's not well like that, you know, like you'll pick up the vibrations of that existing person at that moment in time, like not as DAD, but then, like you say, out of this survey, say there's 5 out of 9 that say they're past, but if he was hit on the head severely, like some of the mediums have said, then he may not know who he was. And they're all picking up the same kind of areas. I went out to 3 of the areas. I drove out there last week after the show and actually physically went to 3, because 3 of the people gave me GPS locations, actual locations. So maybe doesn't like Aussies.
I didn't even hit the button. So I'm replacing this one. Well, let's just call this one defective.
Are they on timers? Some of them have timers in them.
No, these are motion activated. You're supposed to shake them and all that. See? So let's just call this one defective. So let's grab another one.
Yeah, so if he got hit on the head and he didn't know he doesn't know who he is anymore, and he's wandering around working between farms and getting paid cash in hand, someone would recognize him because he's still in the same area, our local area, right? Hypothetically. And but someone would recognize him for sure. He's super good looking. You know, like you will not miss this guy, whether you know if someone missing or not. He's too good looking to go missing, you know, like as far as, and the parents and the family, everyone's, look at it. He's a really gentle, beautiful soul. There's no way he'd leave his sister unless he didn't know who he was anymore.
Yeah, and I can't imagine trying to and be wandering around the town or near the towns that you live in and not one person recognize you in this amount of time. The chances of that.
Yeah, that's right. But there's a lot of it's real rough country around here. Like it's bushranger country, and the bushrangers used to hide behind all the big granite rocks and that, and rob all the stagecoaches. And the treasure, like I'm in this town, and we have Thunderbolt. He's our famous bushranger around here, and they reckon his treasure has never been found. And anyway, but it's really wild country. There's heaps of caves and big rocks, heaps of granite, a lot of bush, and really steep gorge country, because it's all gold country up around the northeast. So he could hide, like if he was good enough, he could definitely hide. But I don't know how he'd survive the cold. He'd have to be in a cave. It's too cold here.
And then he would have to have resources, all the resources to take care of himself, water, food, like you said, shelter, and to be able to live that kind of lifestyle. And especially if he didn't live that kind of lifestyle to begin with, you just don't go, all right, I'm going to grab my backpack and head off to the woods.
Yeah, exactly. And in that frame of mind, wherever he was, where it happened, it's not that far to bushland, but you've still got to get out of town on a road of some kind, but it's too cold. It's so cold here.
And there'd be evidence of him like gathering supplies up to take with him if he was going to just disappear. There would be some sort of evidence, whether it's just his old boots laying at the house or, look like he put on a new pair before he left. Just anything.
Yeah. Like I drove out to a few of these places. I've got
she's talking about some of her other cases she's worked on, Standing Stones, and we'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Welcome back, everybody. Standing Stone. So what Kat is doing, and it's my fault for not explaining to everybody, is that when psychics or people with abilities work on cases, they come across a lot of milestones they have to come over. And not only does it deal with the person's psychological state of mind, it also depends on, you just can't ask a question, is the person alive or dead? It's not that easy. It doesn't work that way. I mean, the last one she did, she came up with 4 pages of answers that then she had to go through and ask a question and ask a question on top of that question to follow that question to make sure that question was asked right. Because if you don't ask the right question, you're not going to get the right answer. It may be skewed. It may be altered off. And there goes the ball. So we got a good ball. So, and that's what she's explaining about her other cases that she's working on or worked on in the past to let everybody know how things work. It's not like that on my panel or our panel that we have for these shows or other shows that we do is they just sit there and go, okay, I'm going to focus on Standing Stones. Where's the body? That's not how it works. She may see a ravine. Sonia may see a cliff with a guardrail. And that's how we put all the pieces of the puzzle together to try to obtain an overall picture.
It's funny too because wording and that's the thing about like when you get a group, a panel together, like you could say ravine and one of us say cliff and it'd be the same thing. Yeah. We could see the same location from different viewpoints and things like that, and all that. So Yeah.
Right,
Yeah, exactly.
right.
And when I doused down, you know, we tried to get the word I can never say correctly, narrative. So I tried to eliminate all the grey areas. Herding cats, yeah. Meow.
He's got
Yeah,
one standing on the
it's like
fence.
somebody just asking where somebody is. It's like really hard to channel that, and you have to really sit down and focus to
Yeah,
be
it's
able to and channel stuff like that. Like like whether the
yeah.
person's alive or dead, you still have to sit down. And like somebody asked me yesterday where their dad was, what in the middle of me chasing my nephew through the yard and stuff, and I was like, I read my cards, but like he never said he was dead. But I was like, he's wherever he's at, he's chilling with his ancestors or his family, you know,
Yeah.
whatever.
No,
That's
you
where he's
said
at.
he was
That's
so
the best I can
searching,
do.
so searching.
Yeah, well, when he came back and he said, "Well, my dad's alive," well, I never said he was dead. I never said that. I said wherever he's at,
Right.
he's with his family. Or he's with your ancestors are still your family. Like I know it's supposed to be like
Yeah.
dead, but those dead people are still within your family. Um, so it doesn't necessarily mean dead. And I never said he was dead. But then I was trying to get my 4-year-old nephew off the top of the swing set that he was on top of. Like I mean, on top of the top.
What a
Like
tiny
ripped
Right.
through,
heart.
like yeah, like I mean on top, like it looked like King Kong. And he was like trying to channel me, but you can't just channel like that. You have to be able to focus, sit down. Even when I read my cards or use the pendulum, I need to be able to not have any
Yeah, exactly.
outside anything. You need to just sit down and have that, and you can't do
Yeah.
that when you're just trying to
Well, you're
run
always
around
going
and
to
not
have
be or not
your
focus.
skeptics, your disbelievers, which is fine. And I always tell them, if you do not believe, come on one of my shows
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like,
because you will leave a believer. Because these psychics that are on the panel, they will reach inside of you and pull stuff out.
they do. They're
Yeah,
very, very good. Like, I don't call myself, I don't want to insult,
Well, abilities, but I know what you're
yeah,
saying.
yeah.
Yeah.
But they're very, very gifted. Medium that you can just zone straight in without pretty much anything else are amazing. Like, the things they come out with without knowing anything's amazing. Like, I don't
yeah.
put myself in there, no way near it. I douse down and back and inside out. And, sometimes I'll get the senses, very rarely when the people come to me, which is, I feel so honored. I'm still spinning about our little
The
girl
way
that,
you do things,
Yeah,
Kat, it reminds me of a forensic scientist, forensic person, because you go through all the necessary steps and
yeah,
the
like
step ball
you
will
get all
not
the
turn
evidence
off.
in a pile.
Right.
I try
And
to.
you will validate something, you go back and revalidate, recheck it. You'll come from different angles to look at it, and you'll go
You
through
ask
and
all the
keep
right
going through.
questions.
Right, right.
Like,
And
because I'm skeptic. You know what
well,
I mean? Yeah,
yeah.
I have to be skeptic so that I can get the right questions to be able to get that narrative. Like you say, I do try to do it forensically. My background's information security analyst, so my head's always why, how, when, if. Get rid of the grey area is what I try and do all the time. And you come out with these wild, things that you wouldn't
Like
even think of. Like,
things that you like just come out to like you like it just yeah like a wild story that you wouldn't make up in your head. And those are good leads because if it's something
yeah.
out of the ordinary that you wouldn't think of, you'd be like, why am I thinking of that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. And
and
when
lead
I'm
like that.
dousing down,
Mhm.
it pinpoints little areas of grey that I have to keep going further and further and further to try and eliminate the grey. I like it. I
That's
love it.
Well, another
awesome.
thing, this ball won't turn off, so I'm getting anxious. My heart, would you call it a ticker? It's starting to tick, 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 tick.
Yeah, that's more
But
of a thumper.
it, if you take the totality, and this is what we say in law enforcement, the totality, which means everything as a whole, right?
Yeah.
Now, I ask you a question, then I ask Sonia a question. Now, I'll probably get two different answers in two different ways, but probably the same thing, but in a different narrative. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when people were saying, because everybody were saying everything along the same lines, it wasn't like, oh, he got picked up by a UFO.
Yeah.
The kid I knew about. not by news reports or anything like that. I just picked that up on myself, and I wasn't the only one. I think everybody picked that up about the child.
Were we
And
right or not?
There has
Okay.
been no proof that says
Okay, sorry.
elsewise. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you don't think that has not shook up somebody's family tree?
I was a bit.
Because, you know, I mean, because I mean, you all don't talk, and that's what I try to explain to people is you all don't communicate and go behind the
Nah,
scenes
not at
like,
all.
okay, we're all here, all 8, 10, 12, 15, 20 of us, whoever's participating. Okay, what'd you come up with, Kat? What'd you come up with, Sonya? No, Sonya, I don't agree with that. I think it's this. No, they all come in independently with their own narrative. This is how this is one. Now, everybody came up with 2 to 3 people. Now, the question was it two men and a woman, or was it 3 people as whole? How did they ask that question when they were looking into it? That's how they got their answer. And this is where people get like, oh, well, that person's not right. She's not right because they're coming about 2 different. No, they came up with the same amount of people, but they did not ask how many were male. Is this one a male? Is this one a male? Is this one a male? Was the driver a male? Was the driver a female? You know, there's difference when you go and dive into something.
Yeah.
So my body's being like electrical charge right now. So I don't have no hair on the back of my neck because I shaved it. Yeah, so I can't say that. So I mean, this won't turn off. But this is what I'm trying to explain to people is because when people watch these shows and they're like, well, Kat's coming up with something, Sonya's coming up with something, and whoever else. But if you look at it as a whole, everybody is correct.
Yeah.
They just come in at different angles.
Yeah.
Because how far did you dive into it? What question did you ask? Or what question did you not ask? Like when I interview somebody, you know, I cover everything.
Yeah.
So I know no matter what direction you're going, I know what to ask. So if you try to throw a curveball at me, I got that baseball bat. I shouldn't use that analogy on the air, but I got that glove with that Vaseline in that other hand to throw that curveball back at you. It's going to be slick where you ain't going to be able to catch that damn ball.
Yeah.
So, and that's how things work, ladies and gentlemen. And this is where law enforcement agencies, departments, unless they know you and worked on other cases and proven your accuracy with them on recovering bodies or closing cases with them, they will not use you, you know, because they don't know you A from Adam.
Yeah, and it's crazy, like if you got all of us together and let us sit down and talk to each other, like how powerful that is when you have a bunch of like people who have abilities and they can sit and talk and they start talking about stuff. It's crazy what you can come up with. It's crazy, like it's wild how correct you can become, and because we're all given limited information, we come up with the things ourselves. And everybody has a different view and a different perspective on how to look at something, so they all have a different answer for you, whether it's similar or not similar. But then when you're together, start discussing stuff, and you have
too, Sonya.
right. That's what I was getting to. That's what I was getting to.
Dowsing.
Right. Well, some of us, when you start to tell a story, it's like somebody when they come up and start telling a story. They can start telling a story in their head, and I can immediately see the story in their head the way they're seeing it. That's how I know when people are lying to me or not, is because when they come up to tell me something, I can see them doing it, or I can see the story in their head and how it's happened, you know, and it's not like them imagining them doing it inside their head. It's them doing it, if that makes sense. When somebody like comes up with a story or they're lying about something inside their head, it's them imagining it. I don't know how else to explain that, but when you sit around and you have a bunch of people and they're all discussing these similar things, and we're not like, oh, I don't think that's right. If you don't know, you don't know, but you can go, well, maybe this happened, or maybe this happened, maybe that happened, or this could have happened. Well, if that happened, maybe this could have happened, and it'll snowball into like some really, really good answers. And usually, the amount of times, I would go ahead.
How are you?
I was just gonna say the amount of times, like, I've been together with other people, like especially other girls that could read cards and stuff. When we read cards together, when we do it together, like as two people, which is I know it's not a lot of people do something like that, but like it is so powerful and spot on, usually spot on every time, and it's wild the energy that you can pick up.
It's like
Yeah.
stimulus response, so like when we're all together and we don't know each other, we don't talk about any of the case together or anything like that, someone will say something and that stimulates a whole new narrative. I can never say that.
Yeah.
And then with the different gifts, because we've all got different gifts and different tools, different ways of getting results, all together, like you say, it's a huge picture. But because of the gifts that are given, you do get pretty good results.
Oh, no, we do. Now, I can take your format and I can say, Kat, on the cases that we've done and the cases you worked on in your lifetime, I want you to give me a set of 40 questions. And I can pass those 40 questions out to every psychic or everybody with abilities, right?
Yep.
However you want to label them. And I guarantee you the answers will be a lot more closer.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. That's why I played around last week with my hypothetical survey. I really in real life sent it out, but it's all a hypothetical.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Yeah. No, go ahead.
I found out so much. That was only 10 people I sent it out to. I had 2 remote viewers. We had medium, psychics, 2 dowsers. So it was fairly evenly split. The remote viewing reports, I have to say, were brilliant. And I'm going to use one of the guys uses this technique that when he first comes in, he gives an accuracy marking. So if he's feeling it's close to the point, or if he's feeling it's way away, so he has a confidence chart. Brilliant. So he gave me 3 scenarios. The first one, he said no. It was interesting, Sonia, because his first hit was where you. And then he sort of went off that, and but I thought you should always trust your first instinct. But anyway, so he counted that as a 2 out of 5 level of confidence. Then he went up to the next view, with the GPS and all that sort of stuff, and the confidence was higher. So then it was a 3 out of 5. Then when he got really close to where he felt comfortable, it was a 4 out of 5. I like that because, when you're getting these instincts and stuff like that and you're writing down your narrative, or like I do, I go all over the joint. From here on in, I'm going to be putting my levels of confidence marked alongside those points. And then at the end, because I do like 4 pages or whatever, that I have little gaps. Like that last one, I had a gap between, destination and pickup. There was a little gap. I could see what was going on. I could see the ravine, the cliff, how they got it out, all of that. But I had a gap, and I didn't have time to get back to it. But with this confidence scale that this man used, brilliant. It's so good. That means if I mark, say, a level 2 confidence, I'm going to go back to that area. So because I've got the 4 pages, say, that's going to really help me to go back and check out the gaps that I have. And I'll do that by level of confidence. That's a great idea. It was so good. Like the remote viewer, that's one of the best reports I've ever seen. Out of all the remote viewing, I've been doing this for 20 years or something. I'm no pro, but, I'm pretty strict. Like I follow Joseph McMonigal, he's CRV. So I've always followed his style. He's very technical. He's very good in reporting. I've always followed him. He was the first one, and I stuck with him. And his reporting is military, and I like my science and my hypotheses and my, I like those kind of procedures so that I've got you know, a set kind of outlines that I could follow so I don't leave gaps. But I was amazed and really grateful to the people that did it because of the different things I was able to pick up and now teach all you guys of where you can get variance and anomalies through language, you know, or it's I found that very, very good and very interesting. And I've got 3 spots to check out, and then I'm going to go back to mine and actually physically check it out. The other ones I went out to, it's hard to tell because now the age is so different, you know, so you're not out searching for what you think you are. You got no idea what you're really searching for physically, you know, like at the age, there's a long time gone past. So now silver hair, you know, like not dark hair, you know, you're looking for a different
5120. Write that down. 5120. Looked like an angel just flew over your shoulder. Oh, see the light go off? It looked like an angel flew over your shoulder.
Oh.
So I don't know if anybody else caught that, but I did. When I said angel, the light ball went off.
Yeah, that's cute.
So it did. It looked like it had wings, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh,
it's a sign.
I love angels. Yeah, so this is all learning, and you can never say you're right. Like, who knows? You know, I'm not upstairs, so. But it's really good, our team, I find, because we're all respectful to each other. You know, it doesn't matter if someone's way off or someone says this or that. Everyone respects each other, and it's a really good environment to be in with, you know, gifted, like-minded people with respect. You know, it's very good.
I have an upper hand because I can see everybody backstage. And when somebody is given their spiel, after they give their spiel, and they're doing this number. And there's 2 reasons. 1, they doubt themselves. 2, they didn't go far enough. And when we all bring them back on, that's when everybody collaborates. Is like, you know, I didn't think that, or I didn't go that far. And that's why you didn't get all the answers that are similar to some of the other ones. And we're not saying everybody's right, you know, and even with the person that worked for the United States government, the Defense Intelligence Agency, the FBI, the CIA, they would ask them every day when they went to work, do you feel like working today? And if they said no, they went home with pay. Because if you weren't in the right state of mind to do remote viewing and spying on countries and exactly. Why sit at a desk for 8, 10, 12 hours and not do a damn thing besides twiddle your thumbs? Yeah. So, and they had an accuracy level that they had to, right. They had an accuracy level they had to prove to stay in the program. Now, one thing they did not get was cap. Okay, we gave you 5 targets. Out of 5 targets, you only came back with 2, right? You would never know nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
So you never got any feedback. What you did was it was sealed. That was it. And the cat ball will not turn off, ladies and gentlemen. It's still flashing.
It's good because that way you don't have an ego issue. You know, you cut out the ego altogether. It's good. Like, it's hard not getting feedback, but it's good as far as ego goes. And you know, you can keep your self-doubt away. You know, like if you know every time they're going to use that procedure, whereas you don't find out, you could get 4 out of 5, 5 out of 5, or 1 out of 5. So it doesn't matter because you're not self-doubting. If you know straight up front, okay, we don't care, you're not going to get the results, then you can douse or remote view much more freely because you're not having that self-doubt thing come onto you. I like that.
Yeah,
that's hard though.
We're creatures of reward. We love to reward ourselves with, like, you know, pieces. Yeah, so that's really it. It's hard to get out of those habits of being, you know, oh, am I right? Oh, yay, you know, but it's hard. Like, I still, like, I know I'm going to be right. Like, when I do stuff, and I know that sounds like I'm being like,
nah, you know.
But I know, and I still get excited and like, yay, you know what I mean? Because I look just as excited as they do. Because I look just as surprised Like,
I'm the
but it's
same.
not
Like,
that.
it's so nice.
It's just.
At the
I think
moment,
I like.
sorry.
But it's really interesting though, because the government, it got to the point to where when they got the reports back from the individuals, before they would open up the report, they were like, "Who's it from?" And they would say, "Who is it from?" Then they were like, "Open it now." And that's how well they got with certain ones in the program.
Yeah.
And they would act on that information right away. I'm talking like sending nuclear subs and stuff out across the world.
Exactly.
And sending
Exactly.
teams in to rescue people and stuff that we cannot talk about on the air. But
Yeah.
and it was
Yeah, if
very
you watch that
fascinating.
Scary Ghost movie, it goes into quite a lot of detail of when they started all that stuff, you know, and the remote viewing stuff. It went. I mean, they were stealing information that way, you know. But they have a movie about it, so you can talk about that, right? Because it was in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They actually published a book. But some of the cases that they worked on, I cannot release or talk about.
Yeah.
Book is better than the movie. It goes into quite a lot more detail than George Clooney and trying to act it out on big screen. So he's nice to look at while you're watching a movie.
Yeah. Oh, George, yeah. He's a bit like
yeah.
Anthony Quinn, Sonia.
No, I love him.
Me too. Like the roughies.
Well,
Don't worry,
I was in love with Sean Connery at the age of 5. Like when I was 5 years old, when I was 12, I went to the Bahamas and stood out in front of his house in the Bahamas. It was like, Don, open the door. You don't know me. I'm 12. It's so weird.
I remember
yeah.
this girl at school. I went to a boarding school as a day girl. It was a nightmare because we were the first. There was only 3 day girls. They'd never had day girls at this boarding school before. So all the boarders hated our guts, you know. Well, what, you're not eating our
You got
food.
to leave. You get to go home.
Yeah. Oh boy, did we cop it, you know. And then so I figured out the best way to handle this was to bring the girls home, you know. So on weekends to try and sort this terrible situation out, I'd bring about 10 of them home, you know, for the weekend. And, you know, you'd fill them up with cakes and lollies and, you know, all the sort of stuff you want when you're at boarding school. But I've forgotten where I was going with that.
I don't know. I would have been running like an underground lollipop thing for those weak girls, like those weekday girls, or those border girls,
so
you know.
mean and beastly. I copped it so badly, and
You could have made money.
You know, and like I used to have my hands in pockets, walk through because there's gum trees and that a lot of land around the school, and I'd walk through the trees because I was an anxiety mess, and I'd be whistling with my hands in my pockets, you know, la, 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 la. And the principal came up. She says, "Ladies, don't whistle, and get your hands out of your pockets." And I went,
well,
like
excuse me.
Exactly. So the second she turned around, I put my hands back in my pockets and kept whistling. You know, how dare she say ladies don't whistle? I thought,
well, if I see any ladies, I'll let them know not to be whistling and sticking their hands in their pockets. That's what I would have said.
Weird. But they used to have these tunnels. There was these tunnels under the school that went all the way back up.
Creepier and creepier.
I know. It went up to this other major, like the university's about, I don't know, 2 miles north. And this tunnel went from our school underneath all the way back up to this other big building up on the hill. And like we used to get the teachers, you know, at the end of the year, because not everyone knew about these tunnels. It was all hot, you know, top secret kind of stuff because they were all bomb shelters. And yeah, I know. So when at the end of the year, because I was pretty much in trouble most of the time, just by being me, which was a bit hurtful.
I feel
but
you.
Anyway, yeah, I remain me. But we used to get the teachers at the end of the year, you know, for a farewell. You're allowed to do stuff to the teachers over here. You know, you can trap them, you can hide them, you can do whatever you like. Anyway, so we grabbed all the teachers.
Nothing's allowed on the last day of school.
This is allowed up here. Anyway, we took it we said, right, here we go. So we got the teachers and we locked them in the end of this tunnel because they had these big like metal grated, beautiful old gates. It reminds me of your background, but like that, that style, beautiful old, and sandstone. And anyway, we locked the teachers in there, and the back part was like disconnected, so they couldn't really get any further unless they knew what they were doing, which they didn't. So, but the girls that locked them in there, because I was part of the beginning of it, and then I thought, no, I'll cop the blame for all of this. So I just, left it because I was a day girl, so I could go home. But the girls, the boarders, forgot about the teachers, and they left them in this. They left them in there.
Forgot about them? Yeah, okay.
And then at dinner time, they realised, the teachers aren't sitting at the end of the tables, because they had these beautiful big banquet tables. Everyone would sit at. It's a beautiful school.
Hogwarts.
And yeah, it was like that, exactly like that. And some of the buildings, like we had Hozzy, and Hozzy was full of ghosts, full of spirits, and none of us kids wanted to go near that Hozzy. And because a lot of the kids, you pretend you're going to be sick because you don't want to do your maths exam or whatever. But at this school, no way. There's absolutely no way you would, get to the point where you take yourself off Aussie. Yeah, it was so scary. And then
that's a good way to keep the kids out of med all the time. It's scary out there. You don't want to go to medical.
It really was. And then later on, my daughter, she's really musical, unlike myself. But I know. We were naughty. And then my daughter, she sings, she's amazing. She
101.53, 101.53. Another one right over your right shoulder. It was an orb. It went over your back and right in front of you.
Cool. I like this. And then I've got friends, Grizzy.
Every time that you're seeing something, the ball's going off.
Oh.
So
have to have a name for that ball. Yeah, and so my daughter sings, and she's musical, plays instruments and things like that. They turned the Hozzy into the music area, like a music room where you learn to do all your music. I know. And my daughter's a touch sensitive.
No, it's haunted and it's creepy. And then now they've filled it full of music. That'll get the spirits vibrating.
Yeah, but when they brought all the music into it, the spirits seemed to like it. And there was only one little area. Like, I couldn't discuss any of this with anyone, because my daughter's at the school and it's a tough school, like been around for 80 years, 100 years or something. Yeah, so I have to behave myself. But then when they put the music into the old Hozzy, it changed all the vibes, as it would. But there was only one little area where the spookies still remained. And it was funny because none of the teachers, no one knew about this much. It was because this is old history. I was there 40 years ago or something. Yeah, a long time ago. And so they weren't really into the history of all that stuff. But I'd go in there to pick up Shorty, and you could feel it. And there's one room still to this day that teachers don't want their office in there. The kids don't want to practice in there. Or they'll go in there and they'll be crying, from being upset from, the music lesson. I'd love to get in there and do a little cleansey.
It's got like old man vibes, like old grumpy old man vibes. Get out of my room.
But I think it was the women, because the women were the ones that ran the Hozzy, and they were pretty scary.
The women are definitely scarier than men.
I reckon. They used to line us up like sheep.
I'm gonna say that.
And to give us those chicken pox or one of those
vaccination.
Yeah, they'd line us up. We're all girls, right? Girly girls. Most of them were very girly girls. I was not. I'm still the same as I am. But, they're all doodahed up. We had to have berets. We had to have ties. We had to have we had kilts. It was full on. We had sports uniforms. We had bloomers so nobody could see our underpunders, things like that. It was very ladylike. And they'd line us up like sheep. And, the first girl would be crying a little bit, The second girl, after she hears first girl scream, then there's like 50 of us all screaming. This is before the needle was anywhere near us, you know. And then that was a nightmare. I'll never forget that. But then one night, they used to have films in the auditorium or the assembly hall. And all the girls would go there, you know, on a Friday or Saturday night, and they'd watch these movies. They had To Kill a Mockingbird one night, and you could hear, like my house was about, I don't know, half a mile south from the school. You could hear the girls screaming, you know, with this To Kill a Mockingbird, 250 girls, you can imagine, screaming, you know, about To Kill a Mockingbird. And then they had Romeo and Juliet. Everyone was bawling their eyes out, like magnified. 250 kids. It was amazing. Unbelievable. And then we get into trouble because we had a swimming pool. So we'd all run down and run away from all the teachers and that at play lunchtime and lunchtime. We'd all burn down to the swimming pool, pull the skirts up, you know, because everyone wanted the brownest legs. But in those days, we used to use coconut oil, you know, to get brown. And then some of the girls were olive skinned, you know, and some are whiteys, you know, you could see their veins through, you know. And there was this big competition. Who had the brownest legs? She was a wild school, but a good school. Like they had horse riding and we do orienteering, and you know, it was pretty good if you could afford to do extra activities. I couldn't. Our family couldn't, you know. And then like at fourth form, I had to leave there. Had no idea I was leaving. No goodbyes, no nothing. I was just dragged out of there. And then I ended up at the public school, the high school, doing fifth and sixth form. You can imagine. So Kath rocks up day one. They've changed the uniforms from short miniskirts and white, you know, shirts to long skirts that come down to nearly your feet. In rocks Kath. Ex-private school cow is what they all thought. My father was senior lecturer at the university, so that divided me again. Because in the town you have uni types, your boarding schools. We had a teachers' college at the time as well. Then you had the townies, or they divided us, you know, so that the townies didn't like the private school people, or, you know, the uni lecturer, they thought we were rich, which was not the case. So I rock in first day with the long brown skirt. Oh my God. I lasted about 3 days. And then after that, I really didn't go to school. I sat in my maths class and at the window. We had beautiful old windows because there's a beautiful old school, you know, beautiful old brick. And I'd sit there and look out the window. This day, the maths teacher says, Matheson. I go, yes, sir. Yeah, not interested. And he says, you're looking out that window. You may as well go out there and don't come back. I said, okay.
Yes, sir.
It was modern history. And I kept saying, that was maths, but there was another class I got thrown out of, modern history. I kept trying to understand how we got to this point in modern history because I couldn't understand it until I had ancient history. And he was the same. I got chucked out. And as soon as they said, okay, you better leave, Matheson, I said, okay, thanks very much. From that day on, I used to get, because when I was 16, a bit after 16, you could get your license. So I had my car and that. I used to take off to the coast for the day and, you know, swim in the river for the day. It's a 2.5 hour, 3 hour drive each way. And then come back the next day. And I remember his name. I better not say it on live. The teacher would say, Matheson, looks like you had a nice day yesterday, you know, because you're all brown and, you know, happy and had a top day. I said, yes, sir.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And then I didn't do fifth and sixth form. I just went picnicking by myself. But I wasn't a fan of school.
You was already outside. I mean, just like I got in trouble in school a lot. I was bored. I didn't have nothing. I was bored.
Me too. And you know those pictures they show you if you do some of this corporate training and that bonding sessions, they give you this photo of this lady or something. And in this case, it was a lady. And they'd say, how old do you think this lady is? You know, those psychological drawings? And
Yeah.
I'll
Like a
find one
Rorschach
day.
County, sort of.
Yeah, yeah. And out of, I think there was 100 people in the exercise, I was the only one that thought the lady was an old lady. But instantly, you know, and I think, well, I can't unsee it. That's what I see, you know. Like if you can't see the old lady at the moment, you probably will now, you know, because they had to point it out. And but the same as in school. Like in English, you go through some book, you know, and they say, well, what do you think? And you've got the same with our dowsing and all this sort of stuff. And I'd say, well, you know, I think I'd get into some deep rave, you know, I think the lady loved this person, but all blah-de-blah. But I'd be the only one that would come up with that scenario. And the teacher, she'd get cranky, you know, and say, well, you obviously haven't read the book. She was probably right. But no, I had
I read the
actually
back,
read.
though.
Yeah, I know. No, I actually read the book, and it was horrible. I hated the book. I didn't like it at all. I got bad vibes from the whole story. I hated the story. But all the other kids in the class, they were all, oh yeah, la la, this and that and this and that happened. But after that class, I thought, instead of being upset, I was upset, but it kind of woke me up, and I thought, well, I'm glad. Like I wouldn't like to be dragged into a whole lot of believers that are being sucked in by a book, you know, like psychology these days. You know, you do your psychology courses at university and that. They're using a 200-year-old book? It doesn't apply now. You know, times have changed. And then you say
Yeah.
to one of these people that have done psychology for 4 years, well, what are your counseling specifications? What were you taught about actually counseling? You know, do you put that person in a room with the door closed behind them? Or do you put the door in front of them so they can see a way out? They just look at me. No counseling skills were taught in 4 years of psychology at all. And yet they go out, then they help people. I say, but you're putting a person that's been abused with a door behind them. I say, you can't do that. You know, they're trapped.
It's wild, you know, like what they call like practicing medicine, because they're still practicing doing it, you know. Like
Yeah.
we hadn't perfected it yet. It's because that you lost the social aspect there is of like connecting with somebody before them wanting to open up and fix their problems. You really, and I know therapy works for a lot of people. It's because they get somebody to talk to, but therapy really works when you can connect on a certain level with somebody and be able to, like I said, connect with them, because they don't just feel heard, they feel seen and heard. And those are two different things, you know.
It's hard. At the moment, I'm helping this person or trying to. And it's kind of a bit
too.
Something kept going on there.
I've got ants, and I have to keep blowing them. Like every now and then, want to run around, and I have to be blowing ants everywhere. I don't know. Like I see the streamline of them. There's just like a couple here and there, which I mean that means the rest are coming.
Someone told me works for ants. Cucumber skin. Try it. I tried it. It actually worked. Yeah, I couldn't believe it. Yeah. So when I look back now at school and stuff, I never really fitted in.
Yeah. That's like, and at some point, I think I convinced myself, oh, that's cool. Since I don't fit in anyway, I'll just pretend I didn't want to fit in. Which I think for a few years I did want to fit in with everybody. Yeah, and then as soon as I chose, like, I didn't want to fit in with everybody, everybody just decided to like accept me like that, and it really messed with me psychologically, because I was like, okay, you know, all of a sudden I start taking up for myself, and I don't take no crap from anybody, and then everybody wants to be your friend at that point, you know, when you start being yourself. And then at that point you're so jaded by them, you don't even want to be friends with them. You're like,
exactly. Yeah, exactly. Like I used to wear, because I was an individual, I guess. I've always been one. And I guess from, that early on this business, it kind of put me on the outside. But I never, when I busted my back, I ended up with a gut. Like I always had a beer gut after that. So, I couldn't dress in normal like teenage clothes and stuff like that and look hunky, because I had this beer gut. And plus I started drinking pretty badly to try and get rid of all the shit in my head. But I actually had a beer gut. That was kind of part of the back because I lost all my core strength. And so I came up with my own style of clothing that I'd wear. No one wore anything like I wore, So I got into the old men's pants, the black pants from their suits. And all I'd wear was, I was pretty cool, I guess, when I look back at it now. Like my daughter says, "Oh, Mum," and so I'd wear the men's pants, and I'd wear the waistcoat, but nothing underneath it. And, you're super brown, you look really pretty good. And then I'd wear different, because I went over to the Middle East, and that when I came back, that was the end of me as being accepted. That really, you couldn't talk to anyone. When I came back, I couldn't talk to anyone. Like they thought, "Oh, why would you go there?" Or, "You've done no work yet. I splattered French. I did correspondence when I was away. It was so good. It was so easy. There was no anxiety. I loved correspondence. And I did only 2 months of French. And when I came back, I slammed it. For 2 years, I didn't touch a thing in French. I won this competition. This is naughty. I was all doodahed up in my, neg or my school uniform, kilted up the whole bit. We had to go to university to for this French competition, get up on stage. I've never been forgiven for this. I was friends with all the university students who were 9 years older. So at lunchtime when I used to run away and not do any school, because they picked on me all the time in my long brown skirt, I'd go up to this house on the hill, which was just up above the school I was at. This beautiful house, big old 2-story, beautiful lady spirit there used to come down and play the organ. And I loved that house. Anyway, I used to run away and go up there all the time. So naughty Miss Matheson ran up there this day, and we kind of got a little bit out of it. Anyway, then I had to rock up to the university, and get up on stage in front of like 500 other students and all these teachers and that, and do this big spiel in French, that you've never seen. I was terrified, and I was also a little bit out of it, to say the least. Anyway, I know. I got up there, and you had to read this paragraph in French, and I just went I know, as fast as I possibly could, because I didn't want anyone to realize how out of it I was. And
you thought you were acting. I'm gonna be cool. I'm just gonna read through it. I got this. You don't have it.
Oh boy,
you didn't have it.
It was so awkward because I came second out of all of everyone, and I wasn't even trying. Like I was just out of it and wanted out of there as fast as I possibly could. And then you had to translate a paragraph as well. Anyway, I ended up doing it really well. I guess I was calm because I was out of it. And then, sorry, everybody,
you were doing great. Then you're like, I got this. I'm doing fantastic. And you really were.
I know, I did really well. But when I got back to school, oh boy, did I cop it. But they couldn't really give it to me because I came second.
Right, that's what I was. I don't mean this anyway. Like, how bad were the other people?
No, they were really good. And like I was pretty good too, like not being up myself, but I was pretty good because I'd been speaking Spanish for months being in Mexico and that. And then I found the French super easy, So
Spanish and French are so similar. They're like two of the most similar languages. Yeah. So,
and Italian.
Yeah, exactly. Those three. Yeah. But that's got to be really. Like, you get done with it and it's just like crickets and everything, and then everybody's like, hey, you're like, that did it? All right. How'd that go? And then you come second. You're just like, oh, wow. You didn't expect to win second either, right? So that was probably
No
like,
way.
oh,
I didn't expect to be still standing up, let alone speaking.
like,
It was so funny. But because all my mates, my older mates, they were all smart. They were all at uni and studying in that. And my best friend, he was studying English Lit. And so some of these ideas that I was coming up with in English that no one else agreed with were coming from some pretty smart people, in the background. So then when the teacher would go, like these guys are doing honours, they know what they're doing at uni. And when the teacher would say, oh, no, I don't know where you got that idea from, I'd be thinking, well, you really ought to go and have a discussion with the head lecturer at English Lit at the uni, and ask them where they get it from, But you can see how easy it is to be manipulated by a group of people. Like I could have gone, oh, well, I better behave, la, la, la. But,
I would never forgive myself if I wasn't me constantly. Like I would never, like later on in life, I would never forgive myself for all those missed opportunities to have some fun or to tell somebody exactly how it's like. Some people need to hear stuff,
Yeah.
Some people need to be told.
This person I'm trying to help out at the moment, it's a bit tricky. They've lived a long, rich life. They've started off living in hell. 12 years old, cigarette butts all over their bodies, scarred. They're emotionally scarred. When the person was hurt badly like this, they got these female nurses and that to come in and look after him. They assaulted him. Anyway, it kept going years and years and years. Anyway, I'm trying to help him now because he's drinking too much, like way too much. But one person did the wrong thing, in my opinion. I know there's tough love and all of this, but they were thinking they would tell this person, you either give up the A, meaning the alcohol, or it's all over. We're never seeing each other again, kind of. He gave him an ultimatum.
Right.
Anyway, so that person's now been dumped, flicked 100%. They're out of the picture. The person that got the message saying it's either you or me said, right, see you later. But I've kept contact on the, because I really want to help him. So I'm going the other way, the soft touch way, whatever you can do each day to not have it on your mind, or, as much as I can do to help him. How are you? Have a great day. I'm proud of you. All that sort of stuff. I do it every day for him. I send him sunset photos and that. Anyway, he started the medication. You can take medicine. There's a tablet. You take it for, I think, 5 weeks, and you've got to see the psychologist, talk to them twice a week. And it turns you off drinking it. You don't.
It's just when you drink.
Yeah. So, but
like
he's been doing really, really well the last 6 days. He's on the medicine and he's doing really well. It's so complicated, but
it changes your whole system, your whole body system. Alcohol, your body adapted to the alcohol, and now it has to find a way to, rid itself of it, and then it has to learn how to function again all over again without the alcohol. That is
exactly. The last 2 days I've been not teaching but talking, and saying, look, you realize that your light's going to come on now, and you're going to be clearer, and you're going to be able to see things a lot clearer, more clearly. And, you're going to realize who's playing games with you and who's genuine and who's not. I say, you've got to realize you're kind of in a grief and loss stage here, the grief and loss of your old self and the happiness and excitement of your new self. And I'm trying to say, don't make any major decisions at the moment, because you're in this middle part of between, it's almost manic, because you've got your grief and loss on one side, but on the other side, you're all excited and happy.
It does make you manic. That's exactly what that is. That's exactly what that, it streams down to that though, because you have to completely almost break down all of that to step out on the other side. You either stay
Yeah.
on the side. You can't stay in the middle, and that's what it's doing. It's making you uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Make you
But I'm so
push you.
proud of him. Like, he's gone ahead. He's got the medicine. I said, I ring him up in the morning and say, how you going? Or we text, because he doesn't want to talk. I say, how you going this morning? Top day, even though I'm frozen solid, and I said, what are you up to? He'll say, I'm flat today. So I'll say, okay, time to get up. You need to go for a walk and pretend you're not flat for the day, and switch your mind and just get up and get cracking and off you go. So pretend you're okay, and that's been really working well as well. He's been getting up, going for walks on the beach, and he's now eating well. And then he's a little bit vain, but who cares? And he says, oh, the medicine's really well. My skin's all beautiful now. So I'll send him a message. Oh, you'll be a hottie or a hottier now. Little things to, keep him going.
Yeah.
But gee, I'm proud of him. He's been through hell, this poor kid. He's now 50. And when they tortured him, he was 12. And he lives with his family. When he was a little boy, when after he was tortured, he decided, that's it, I'm going out on my own kind of thing. So he taught himself how to do the stock market. He's only first he did a paper run to get some money, and then he decided he'd teach himself the stock market. He ended up so good at it, he became rich, like really rich, by the age of about 22, stinking rich. And then the family used him to get rich. We're talking Murdoch rich, stinking rich. But now the parents are making out that he's a problem, and so they're taking control of all the money and everything. It's his money. He made that money for the family, and now he can't touch it. It's such a mess. But anyway,
he's got to fight back for his power of attorney and stuff from his parents just because of his drinking. So they took it from him, saying that he's got this addiction and stuff. That he can't handle his own business because of it.
Oh, look.
Or something.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to do is get him nice and strong and clear so that he can fight the battle clearly, instead of reacting. You know how they teach you don't react, respond? I try not to react.
You got to step back. People are going to do what they're going to do anyway. And most of the time, those people, especially if they're in the wrong, they're the first ones to open their mouths. Yeah. They're the first ones telling people stuff. They're the first ones to do all that. You've got to step back and just let that happen. You can't get caught up in that.
But gee, what a mess. I'm so proud of him.
Well, he's getting it. And it's really just to go to the doctor to get the medicine, to know that you want to make that life. That's a life change. That means you are tired of living the life that you're living. And you're there. You know what you mean? It's going to suck. It's going to suck. It's going to suck real bad. It's going to hurt. It's going to suck. But you're there.
The other one said rack off, and he's racked off. I've done the opposite approach. I'm just letting him come to me whenever he needs to, but he knows I'm there every morning and every night because I'll text him, because this time, where they're coming clean, you really need that support. Otherwise, you'll get your negative talk and go straight back again. So I'm kind of in the middle. I'm kind of caught. But
it's just good to say, hey, how are you? But you're not enabling him. I'm sure, his parents are going to pretend like they... all of that was enabling. So they had to cut him off to not enable him to save his life or whatever. They're doing it for the best interest or whatever, But
the thing is, there's this really good place in Sydney that you can go and be healed. It's celebrity. It's super expensive. It's really hard to get into. But I've been sending people there for 20 years. They've got a 95 success rate. But he really needs someone to talk about the abuse and trauma, to be able to, because otherwise he could go back there again. I keep trying to help him build up his self-esteem and, try and make sense of the trauma and the triggers and what to watch out for and how to handle a trigger when it goes off and all this sort of stuff. So
how to react.
It's really important to have that support when the lights are coming back on again. And then I taught him about the 720 hertz. You know, if he gets into his head and he starts getting negative and that, I said, just pretend you're a light bulb, you know, which you are, and just gently, if ever you feel the self-negative talk, then 720, you know, like gently pump your light out so that your light's coming brighter. Because also, the clearer they get, the more people are going to want more money. You know what I mean? So he's got to be on his toes when he gets clear.
Yeah, because the clearer you become too, and especially when older, when you're older too, like, and you've weighed yourself down with some sort of intoxicant or something, you know, or whatever it is, you know, that's been flooding your body starts to, you know, you don't know how your body was going to naturally become like open to stuff. So like when you get clear again and you're older, your perception's definitely different as you were when you started drinking for so long ago and how long ever it's been. So you don't even, at that point, you really don't even know who you are yet, you know?
Exactly. And
that's
that's
ease into that. So that there's no shame in not knowing because there's a good reason that you don't know.
Yeah, that's right. And now it's really important to keep him busy, you know, because like he's got a brain. He's a super brain, you know, someone that can get rich at 16 out of teaching themselves the stock market he's super intelligent, super gifted. So now I'm trying to keep him busy, you know, so that he doesn't get bored, you know, and do naughty things or, you know, like he's never had a hobby. His hobby's money, you know, like.
Yeah, you don't realize how much free time you have after you're not like passed out or drinking or spending all your time going to the liquor store or just all that. You know?
Like I said to him, if you're going to booze out, because I don't pick on him or anything, I say, you know, if you're going to booze out solidly for 3 days, or you've got 6 days of payback coming. So you're going to lose 6 days for every 3 days you booze yourself out. This is what I tell him, to try and get him to realize that, you know, you're going to get sick. And I said, you've got to get a full liver function test done, you know, see how bad, you know, you've been affected. But so far, so good.
Yeah.
It's tricky business, isn't it?
Yeah, alcohol is one of the most dangerous things to come off of. Alcohol and there's another thing, but alcohol is one of the worst.
I reckon Coca-Cola is too.
Yeah, well, sugar in general is the hardest. Like, actually, sugar is the most addictive thing in the world, which they don't talk about. It is the most addictive thing. We are delighted by the taste of sugar. It gives you the same kind of reaction that drugs give an addict.
Yeah, and you know, like all different addictive substances could be anything. You know, anything. Going for a walk every day is not a substance.
People go into the
gym. You know, like,
I got a lot of people out here, you know, they gave up, you know, life on the streets, which is great. You got to give it up to them. But now they're in the gym 24/7 and they're out there, you know. I'm like, you put a lot of strain on your heart doing the other stuff. And now you're at the gym putting a lot more strain on your heart. You got to be really careful, guys.
Because
when you give up, you're going to stroke out really.
Yeah. But when you give up one addiction, you replace it with another one. So at the moment, I'm trying to help him have different choices of addictions to get into, you know, like something artistic or that. He's so brainy and he's at a loss at the moment because he's got money, or he can get money sometimes, and his taste is exquisite, you know, like he's got beautiful taste, or I like his taste, you know, he's into Renaissance stuff and Gregorian music, and he's got very good taste. I like his taste, you know, cars, jewelry, clothes, all this sort of stuff, you know. So to get him something in his mind that's going to keep him busy, you know, to replace the other addiction, it's tricky.
You could, if you got him going on hikes, have him identify the plants in his area, all the identifiable plants, stuff like that. Bird watching. Bird watching's fun. But edible plants and edible medicinal plants in your area are fun, and it's a really fun hobby to start because that leads into mushrooms and that leads into trees.
He's at the Gold Coast, which is like Miami kind of, you know,
So you've got
tourists.
like palm trees.
Yeah, palm trees
Oh,
and the
bird
beach.
watching.
And
I got seagulls. Oh, yeah. Okay. Well,
people falling off
scratch
buildings. And
that.
like in his family, he's been hit by a car twice. This is in the same area because everyone's pretty much off their faces. And his sister got hit on Saturday night, and I'm thinking, oh, he's joking, you know, because you got to be joking. Surely the two people in the same family are not going to get hit by a car, you know, as often. You know, I'm trying to be, you know, not laughing, and
Yeah, no.
yeah, you know, like how
That is
how's that possible?
unusual
Yeah.
that your
Anyway,
children are just walking out in front of
these are adults,
cars.
you know.
Oh, sorry.
Uh,
No, well, that's what I'm saying. They've got their parents are still alive, though, right?
I can't believe it. They got to be
God.
like I know this
6 years
other
old. We
lady who
thought we
lives near.
raised you better.
Yeah, but like I know this other lady, she lives nearby here, that we've, you know, ours only a little old town, and there's a railway track runs along the side of it. She's been hit on the pedestrian, not the pedestrian, the crossings, you know, the railway crossings, ringing bells, lights twice at the same thing by a different time of train. Twice.
You can't tell me that you ain't doing that on purpose. You cannot tell me you're not doing that on purpose. Like, how do you? Are you so entitled? You think the train's gonna stop? What happened? I don't know.
I couldn't say a word. I just, because if
I
I
wouldn't.
said
I'll
something,
just stare at you with the look on my face that says everything and that it's not coming out of my mouth.
yeah,
Nope.
that's exactly what I did, and I had to go, oh, it's good you're okay. And then I walked away fast as I could.
Cool story, bro.
You know, how do you manage this? And the car, luckily, only got tipped like on the corner, so it spun it, so it didn't get in front of the train both times. How can you do that? I know.
She, not the first time that she didn't beat the train, but there was a second time she said, you know what, I can beat the train.
She must have said something like that,
So
honestly.
How many times? Well, how many times has she raced the train and made it? Apparently every other time. She's been doing this a while. This ain't something new. She apparently sees that train and floors it. And it's like, I can make it.
It's a bit of entertainment for the day, yeah. Instead of boring old town, let's see if we can race the train.
You think the train sees her and he's like, not this time. I'm one. I got you once. I get you again.
No. There's two trains that come through town. One's at 9 o'clock or 8:55, and the other one's at like 5:05.
Oh my
day.
God. Yeah, that's why I know she's been doing this for a while. She's been trying to beat that train, and she's lost twice. She's like, well, her chances at this point, I mean, 2 out of a couple thousand times you beat the train. She's like, 2 ain't bad.
I couldn't believe how lucky, you know?
Lucky.
Yeah, stupid lucky, you know? Like the gods upstairs must be saying, righto, miss, I'm going to make you do this again until you wake up.
Like, God, the poor conductor of the train, he was like, that's the same description of the car that we hit last time.
Exactly. You know, that poor guy, he'd be going, what? You know, and then it's only another like 20 minutes north, and that's the end of the line. That poor guy would be hitting the pub immediately.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh my God. Hit the brakes, hit the pub.
Exactly. But geez, you know, I couldn't believe it.
God dang.
Lots of weirdos around my area.
Laura, I'm on a podcast. Tell her to call her back.
What do you know what animal totem yours is, Sonia?
Do what?
Do you know what your American Indian animal totem is?
Oh,
so I can't do it.
I don't know.
Do you want to know?
Maybe I do. It's a goose. I think I'm a geese.
I do.
I think I'm a goose.
Okay, you don't have to give me your exact year or anything because I don't want to breach any privacy or anything. So just like your month, and if you're before July the 21st or after it. Because I've got Northern Hemisphere and Southern Hemisphere. So roughly, what's your birthday without the year?
June 4th.
June 4th. Okay.
Coming up. Hey, Laura.
Um,
I'm on a podcast.
I think you're a deer, Grizzy.
What's that mean?
You're a deer. Hang on. Write down deer, Sonia, and I'll see what yours is.
Mine is January 13th.
Hang on. What is it again? January
13th.
13th of January. Your dates are back to front. Or ours are. January 13th. Woodpecker.
That sounds about right. That
I think you're a woodpecker. And Grizz is a deer.
a deer. Oh dear.
A deer. You're a deer. Do you want to know your compatibilities?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, hang on. Okay, so the deer is your animal totem. Your season element is fire. Your season totem is eagle. Your birth time element's air. This is good for soul groups. Your elemental clan is butterfly. And your energy is active. So you're actively you're letting your energy out. For woodpecker, you're right next to each other, even in the book. Okay, your season element is water. Your season totem's coyote. Your birth element's water. You're the frog clan. Your elemental clan is frog. So you got butterflies and frogs. And you're receptive. Perfect. Because it's good to have receptive and active, because then it's nice and sharey.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to know your compatibility or not?
Yes.
My compatibility is a shocker. But it doesn't, it's really good though, because it shows you where you can help stuff. Okay. So the deer and woodpecker. This is what it says right in the book, and you don't have to take notice of it, but I find it's helpful, like if there's a problem, or not a problem, but a misunderstanding area or whatever, this really can help. So for the deer and woodpecker, both are prone to nervousness and insecurity. I don't know if theirs would be a vulnerable relationship, lacking in any real support and practicality. I don't agree with that at all.
Well, she's actually kind of right on the money, though, isn't she?
But, like, it helps. And then I'll read yours back, because it says, I'll show you mine too. Both are prone to nervousness and insecurity. Theirs would be a vulnerable relationship, lacking in support and practicality. So they're the 2 points you know how to help.
Well, we are far apart from each other, so I think that has a lot. That does make sense.
Yeah, exactly.
And we don't know each other that well, so we're getting to know each other. So there is a lot of vulnerability.
Yeah, same. I'm in the same situation. The woodpecker and
but we're learning.
Woodpecker and deer, yeah, they've got the same thing. I'll show you what mine is. Mine's a horror show. I'm a beaver. And my mate's a salmon. So straight off, I'm thinking beaver eats salmon. But anyway, that's beside the point. So mine's a nightmare. Mine is salmon will want excitement and sensual stimulation from beaver. And beaver will want practicality and endeavor. Both will end up empty-handed. Stop it, Sonia. Stop it. I know what you're thinking.
Hot in here. Hot.
Okay, we've got to change the subject quick. So our elemental clans, Grizzly, these are kind of like soulmates. You know how we have like how we've all met kind of thing. I know, Luana. You wouldn't think it was funny if you're in my shoes.
Oh, you will.
But yes, I know.
That was
you can also
I love that
use animals. I know. I wasn't going to tell you. I shouldn't have.
I'm glad you did.
No,
Sonia will explain later, Sonia. It's
I'm
a
the one
language
that
thing.
can't act like an adult over here. I'm over here like giggling.
I'm not saying anything, Lady Wolf. That's all
No
right.
way. But like, it's really helpful because like with the different, especially you're lucky you've got receptive and active energy. That's really good. Because like if you both got active, it's, it's like, so there's no kind of balance. When it's receptive and active, it means give and take and care, and it's good.
Yeah, and I think that does make sense because I think I'm very I'm not as like I don't know, managed as Chris is. Like he's much more like put together than I am. I'm kind of like
Yeah,
a hot mess all the time. I'm like,
yeah, same
look,
here. And I'm the
showing the
total
door
opposite. Total opposite to my friend. But like that one little sentence totally freaks me out because like I'm not experienced or anything like that. Like I don't go out, I don't see people, I don't talk to people, anything like that. So if I know, enough, let's change the subject.
I'm gonna have to find me a car that's screeching and crashes. Look, they agree with me. Put that on my soundboard.
I think
So,
they
Lady
get a bit
Wolf,
overawed
anytime
with
we
what
get
I talk
near
about.
that ditch, I can play that
but
little sound.
it is good to know like your cat like it's good to know like it's fun to do little capability or like I'm not saying that right. Am I right?
Yeah, you're saying it
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Capability.
And like they've got
weird.
it split. So they've got relationship potential and then they've got challenging pairings. So that's where it shows up, where they tell you the truth about your traits that could affect each other, which I think's great because if
Where
you've got the forewarned,
were we in the challenging pairings? You said you wouldn't.
Yeah.
You just started reading it and you just
Yeah, no, you're in the challenging,
good challenge.
and so am I. But mine's super challenging because, depending on the star sign of the other one, right?
Yeah.
The other one, oh God, I hope no one ever watches some of these.
147-17, another orb, left side, flew towards the back of the wall.
Like, for example, if you have someone, oh no, I don't know if I can do this. With a star sign that's, read me, this I don't have to say it out loud.
I'm lost. I have no idea. Where'd the damn thing turn off? Hold on. There we go. Thing flashing in my eyes.
So so that's challenging by itself. And especially because they're very experienced types, and that's one of their traits is that whole section that I don't have.
Yeah. My mouth is way more, experienced and I let on. At least it seems that way with the, you know what? It's hard to talk about. You know what? Hey.
Yeah, I reckon we need to change. Okay, great. So another subject. Quick. So we were balancing energy centers. I can't go down that line we were just on. I'll be like a beetroot.
Be a good conversation to have. We'll just have to do it off of the we'll do it later.
Yeah, nothing naughty, Grizzy. This is on my end where I've got troubles. You two are fine compared to my area.
I don't.
You crack me out.
Me too. I never know what's going to come out. But it's really good. Like, it's a great little book if anyone wants to do this stuff. It gives
what's
you
the
all
title of it?
Oh, hang on.
Animal Token Astrology?
Yeah. How to use Native American totems to uncover your unique relationship with nature and the seasons. It's really nice. Like, it tells you all about soul groups and, challenges and But you can use animals, like you can bring in certain animal energies. Like it describes each animal and what they're like and what they need and all those sort of things. And it helps you to be able to understand the others and how others are sensitive to certain things and you're sensitive to other things. And that's only what they mean by challenging. They don't mean it's sensitivity, it's it's not a nasty, challenge. It's a sensitivity challenge. But it's really good because it's got all the clans, the turtle clans, bear clans, eagle clans, all that sort of stuff. It's really quite nice.
Yeah, and people too, you have 3 major signs, your sun, moon, and rising sign. So that has a lot to do with just because you're not your sun signs aren't compatible doesn't mean that you're not compatible with somebody that in other ways,
Yeah.
Because a lot
And
of the
with
rising
this,
sign has a lot to do with your your get-go.
yeah, but like in this, it describes each animal, and like what you like. So, say salmon, for example, their season totems coyote, their elements water, birth element fire, elemental clan thunderbird, energy flow active. It gives you affinities: color red, plant raspberry, mineral garnet. Then it says gifts: energy, versatility, sensuality, benevolence, determination, affection, charm, courage. Challenges: impulsiveness, arrogance, selfishness, greed. Life path: to harness the vital energies that can surge through you in order to achieve emotional balance and harmony within your environment. And then it gives you a whole spiel on what the salmon type's like. And you can use, like, if you're needing a certain type of energy, because they're talking about energies, you can read that section and bring that type of energy into you.
Call upon
to
it,
help you
call
out.
it in.
Yeah, it's beautiful, really. It's kind of like doing the cards in a way, but
it was like having like spirit. It's like bringing spirit guides. It's like it's like bringing in your own spirit guide to help you through whatever that you need.
Yeah,
or,
only animals.
Or whichever animals are strongest at those things. You need that energy or that.
Yeah, because each of the animals have different lessons they can give and different energies and help and all that. Like they've all got different gifts that they share, like wolf, education, bear, protection, all those sort of things. It's really quite nice.
Yeah, and it's cool too because like in a lot of indigenous cultures and stuff, like their totems and the animals and the way they put the animals on the totems has so much to do with it's like means different things.
Yeah.
And so when you get your totem, you get like certain things that lead up to like what your personality's like and how you are spiritually.
Yeah, and also because they're seasonal, like we're born on different energies. These are split up into it's so good. Like it helps every now and again when you get stuck, if you need some sort of energy help.
Yeah. I think meditation's my biggest thing right now. I need to meditate more. I don't put time out to meditate like I should, and I should, and I don't, and it's calling to me, and
and something else has been calling to you as well.
Yeah. What would that be? What ain't calling me? No, what's calling me?
Lord, nothing. I've been scalped. Yes, I know, Lady Wolf. I'm right there with you. I'm trying to be so priceless and good right now as well.
You can do whatever you like.
So,
Lady Wolf, come on. What do you want to say?
No, she's getting ready to put the car in the ditch, and we're going to keep it on the road for a while.
We were skidding into it anyway. It was bound to happen.
Let go of the damn wheel. Let me drive, damn woman. Golly.
That does sound like a fight we'd have.
Who drives?
I told her she made me the pants, but damn it, I am the suspenders. That hose the britches up. So, well,
Yeah.
damn.
I didn't even know we were wearing pants.
Oh, my God. Thanks, Lady Wolf. She says, okay, then. So,
I was ready to hear it.
Me too. Go for it.
that is a
Yeah.
neat book, though. It really is.
If we
And
get kicked off of YouTube, you can blame me tonight. It's my turn. I'll run its
Yeah,
right
give
off.
and take.
but for the people that have actually listened from beginning to end and it's going to go back and listen to the show, this is something that I've learned throughout my journey with learning people that have abilities and seeing their transitioning as they grow from a child to a teenager to a young adult and see their difficulties and their things that they overcome because of what they have within inside themselves makes them so different from everybody else. And this is a prime statistical case that shows how different people are. And if you would listen to what Sonia had to say about her being in school and growing up as well, it kind of not only mirrored, but it almost mimicked each other. And I've seen this across all the psychics that I interviewed or have dealings with or spent time with, try to get to understand them and how they got their abilities, when they got their abilities, how they got their abilities, and what they went through transitions through life because of their abilities. And it has been a rough road, ladies and gentlemen. It really has. And people don't realize that.
Yeah.
So
I think that adds to the sensitivity, and the empathy.
Lady Wolf
I
came in on the woodpecker, the empty-handed beaver, and the doe watching. Wow. There we go, Lady Wolf. I'd be... Oh, why did I have to read that out loud to the audio people in the morning?
Because it's our totems. It's just our Native American totems. What?
Yeah. It's unfortunate with the language, Australia and everywhere else.
You're trying to keep from cracking up. Look at you, Cat. There it is. It's going. Agree. Thank you, Lady Wolf. I know. Thank you. Absolutely. But no, it really is. And that's why I sit back in the back seat because I don't have a license to drive from the back seat like Sonia does. That wants to just grab the wheel while you're driving, like, let me at the wheel. And next thing you know, you're in the ditch. But that's
Look at
right.
You let me have it.
So, but each psyche, each person with abilities has their own story.
Yeah.
And if you go back and you watch the other interviews that I have performed over the years, and you will see how it mirrors each other. And, my heart goes out, right? Because, when I deal with people, whether it was law enforcement, psychology, in the civilian world, what is normal? There is no normal. My normal is not Sonia's normal. And I'm trying to get Sonia to turn a few dials but she's a wonderful person. But, you step back and you look at, once again, I say the totality, which means, everything as a whole, you have to be understanding because, in first responders, a lot of people don't understand why they can joke around on certain scenes where things have really been, horrific or horror, that's happened and crack jokes and that's how people get by in life. If not, they would be,
I'm one of those people.
in a padded room and you all call it tabs. We call it pills, medicine, or whatever other addiction that they can have their access to or have their hands on. And, and that's a stigma a lot of first responders have for the longest time is how can they laugh when there is somebody it's 10-0. 10-0 means DOA, right? No longer alive, whatever. Now it's English, most places. And sit there and laugh on the side of the road while somebody's just lost a family member or lost a husband or a wife or a child or grandson or whatnot. But it's how everybody deals with things that we all handle within ourselves. And a lot of people don't understand that. So when people, talk about Chit Chat's Corner, yeah, we talk about business, but we also step back and look at people's lives.
Yeah, it's
And
real
that's one
life.
thing we don't do, right? Is because even though we may go into the ditch from time to time, we always come back out, squealing the tires, and we're on the road.
Yeah. Skid
So,
takeoff.
yeah, that is correct. And that's improper takeoff. And I can give you the IC code for that, or the KRS code. But anyways, but it is. And that's very important because a lot of people doesn't understand the backstory behind people. And, she's different. Sonia's different. She's cuckoo because she believes in Sasquatches. And so she sees Dog Man, and, she's over here playing with beavers and salmons, and people that just come in have no idea what's going on. And then, we talk about the totems and, the Indians and, the tribals. And, these things are in place for a reason, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
These people have studied these things for millennia. Okay. This is something that just not, you go to chat or AI and like, tell me, is Chris or Grizzly and Sonia or Cat and whatever, whoever going to be a mate, and, and it's going to spit it out. I mean, people have studied this for generations and generations, and that's how they get this information. And just like Sonia and Kat said earlier, just because you got one sign here, let me get in the camera, doesn't mean the other sign's not going to counteract that and make it to we have that. Here I go, ladies and gentlemen, quantum entanglement. So,
Exactly.
and yes, I use that word, but it's the truth and it's the fact. And that's why we are insensitive when it comes to people. We don't want to take time to learn people. And I have had a lecture, Cat, for 2 days now about certain topics, which I am horrible at. And I will admit that. I am human. And there's things that I do not want to deal with, and I won't. And Sonia knows if I can't cut my branch, I will cut the MF and tree down and I will replant.
Yeah.
And that's not a threat. That's just the way I deal with things, because there's certain things in my vibes, you want to call it, I don't want to mess with.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're ready to cut down the tree before you even know whether the tree's infected or not. That is one of your problems. Like, not that I'm calling you out on air, but I just did. But you got
She
to be
actually
really.
said what I was going to say was, instead of me actually looking at my tree and seeing what needs to be done myself before I make any trimmings or any pruning, I need to validate things myself and look at myself in the mirror. So
and you
she
need
may has
fertilizer.
different words to say it, but she's got emotional feelings behind what she just said, and she has good
I
reasons
do.
to feel that way. So
Yeah.
Like, we're all sensitive beings, and depending on what's going on, our vibration changes. And I think with all the gifted people, or abilities, whatever you like to call it, all those vibrations are pretty close to each other. And I think that's how we end up being connected, because we're all resonating on the same vibration. And it joins us together. And then with soul groups, we don't even know each other. We just end up finding each other, and we've been put together for a reason, I think.
No, lady. Well, if you did not say
You did
anything
not say
wrong,
nothing wrong.
It's impossible here.
This is reflection on Sonia and
Oh,
our relationship as a whole. And because I'm the type, Lady
I will.
Wolf,
I
is
will.
if we don't do it this way and have everything, and if I don't feel that you're doing your 100%, either I will prune you or I will cut you off that branch you're sitting on out of my life, and I will move on. That's the way I've always been with everything in my life, and I have to for good reasons. But why should she pay for somebody else's issues in my life
Different now. They can see me
and turn around and have to pay for somebody else's mistakes, right?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Does that does that
or
make
the
sense, Lady Wolf, now?
consequences of someone else's actions.
That
That's
is
what
correct.
I'm always paying for. It's not my action. Someone else has made the action,
Hanico.
and I'm paying the consequences. Hi, Nicole.
Yeah, and that was the problem. Go ahead, Kat.
See, this is a couple in love's energy, right?
Right.
And all the energy and how it combines. It's all beautiful. If you have a psychopath, say, this is a psychopathic color. You know, we're all in a bubble. Imagine you're in a bubble of energy, and your bubble extends out about 10 foot. Sometimes you can feel the other person's bubble when you come up close, and you kind of back off a bit depending on what their bubble's like. This
their aura?
No, you can't offend us, Lady Wolf. Yeah.
No, you're fine, Lady Wolf. And I'm going to cut Kat off.
Yeah,
Let me explain this to you, Lady Wolf. Sonia and I are so well connected. What time was it this morning? It was 5-something.
Yeah, it's funny. I was texting you like 5:30 this morning, and you were texting me, and I was like, "Oh."
I was already texting back before she even. That's how well we are connected, right? And it scares me. And I'm not gonna lie, it is beautiful, but it scares me because have you ever had something like this in your life? Me? No, I have not. And and then you got other outside influences, right? That should not impact or cause any interference.
No, like I don't. That's the difference. I don't allow outside influence to to influence my perception of things. Like I don't allow that because it's just allowing negative energy, and I think that's we kind of separate at that right there. Like you were trying to find validation so you don't get hurt, and that's okay. Like but like you can't just take everything somebody tells you because they're psychic to heart. You can't. I mean, we're not always right, and people aren't always right.
Yeah, that's right.
But
Grizzly,
there are people out there that love to sabotage you too.
Exactly. That's what people
I won't allow that. But
no way, I won't either.
You have to. Okay, so like you have to. If somebody tries to come in and tries to mess stuff up, the only person that can allow that to happen is you and me. Us to allow it to happen.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You still have to allow it to happen.
The thing that's so good, like at the moment, because my daughters I'm still on the same track, Grizzy. Synchronicity at the moment is unbelievable. I've never in my whole life felt how amazing the synchronicity is at the moment. Like it's so important to trust your intuition. Bang, as soon as you get this synchronicity, like you send a text to someone, it's 4:44. They'll send a text back, it's 5:05. Like every time I look, or my daughter's looking at the clock or the phone or text, it's full synchronicity. And I'm trying to teach my daughter that at the moment it's super important to act on this synchronicity.
We always
so
get
powerful.
I always catch when I'm on the phone with Grizzly. I always catch the double numbers or the triple numbers with the clock, especially with him. 555. That's 555 is like for me it's like 3:33. With him it's like 5:55, and it never, it's always 5:55.
What's weird is that we'll do it at the same time.
Yeah, that's what's been happening with me as well.
It's not like it's not Grizzly. You see what time it is? Oh, baby, you're right. I did not know it. No, it's like I know.
You know what's funny right now? My phone is at 55%.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah, but there's like synchronicities happen to me all the time, and I don't like I want to say there's synchronicities, but they're just like little signs to let you know that you're on the right path. I feel like it's like this, like you were supposed to be here.
Yeah.
So you're settling down into that moment,
Yeah, it's like getting a little cuddle of reassurance. It's so nice. Like one that you don't have to physically see or feel. You just know. It's just so nice.
Yeah. And I've got certain friends, like we've been doing shadow work together, which is what I've been doing with them. I can sit down with them and we can look at each other and we can go, all right, and we call it ESPN because, we're being funny. We turn the ESP on, so we're like, okay, Let's turn it on. And literally for the rest of the day, we can hear each other for the rest of the day. And we can turn it off just like that. And it's only with certain friends. But when I have a real connection with somebody that I like, that's the only, like, that connection, it means everything to me. That's where the attraction lies. That's where everything is in that
Same.
connection with somebody. I can't have just flings with people because there's no connection there. I can't just open
Same.
myself up because I'm a portal. I'm a conductor or a conduit. I cannot open myself up to have negative things around me or in me or anything. But I can't. Yeah, so I have to be very careful with who I connect with and how I let them connect with me.
Same. Because everything for me is trust. Like love, love is not love to me. Trust is love.
11-11, Lady Wolf. 11-11, Lady Wolf.
Yeah.
And
you know,
and
like
you
if
got
you
to
don't have
understand
trust,
too.
you can't
You're
have
right,
anything.
Kat. That is the key. And this is what I tried to explain several times. But then you look at, Ola, and yes, DZ, we do react to your chat. But you look at what I dealt with. You're 11 years old. You're in the wrong place if you're 11 years old. So just let you know. But I'm just saying is that
11-11, Lady Wolf.
Is being in law enforcement and being the jobs that I had, and once again, this is going to sound horrible, but her paying for the past is not her responsibility. And
That's
I
true.
have to alternate that and change that and reflect that on myself. And that's very hard for me to do.
Yeah, because you have to be sensitive to her past pain to be able to understand her now. No offense saying her, I mean you, Sonia.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, and I know, and that's the thing about things. We all live different lives. We all have different perception.
Oh, I know who you are now, Facebook user. Yeah, you just let the cat out of the box.
And like you say, like Grizzy was saying, that everyone reacts differently. Grizzy's unfortunately used to doom and gloom and horrible sights, and I've seen my fair share as well. So then when I get into an accident mode or, you're saving someone's life or that, I'm strictly business. You won't see any emotion. There'll be no crying, no nothing. I'm strictly business. And then after it's all done, I'll be upset, away by myself. But, like we say in cases, that person didn't react the same way. If I don't react the same way that everyone else reacts in a situation, because I've seen someone trying to do something to me is just another day. So I'll just be nothing. Whereas other people will be, in serious trouble.
No, and Lady Wolf, here's the thing. And yes, I've been trained certain ways. Psychology has taught me a lot. There's, knowing what I know now, some of the things that I didn't know I had until, a year and a half ago, it really kind of clicked, especially when I'm on my spiritual side. But and I'll give you an example, and this is no disrespect to Sonia. We had a conversation, and she was like, "Show me the text," and I'm like, "Dude, what? I just copied and pasted it and sent it to you." Number one, now you're challenging my integrity, and now you're challenging me as being honest. Now we got some real effing issues now going on, and that's the way I took down that road. And instead of her saying, instead of you saying though, "Hey, hon, thanks for sending that to me, but let me see everything so I know let me get the overall picture." I didn't think that way. When she said that, I automatically went full to 100%. Is like, you are challenging my integrity. You are challenging my, honesty, that you think that I wrote this. And
but no, that's not. Yeah, but you were already calling me a liar, and which is not like calling me a liar, but you were like, no, that's, so it was already like a challenging situation.
This is getting to know each other, of how each other's super sensitive, what their sensitive baseline is. Because I've been having the same issues, and I'll be going, I'm like you, Grizz. I react instead of respond. And then I go deep into myself and start bagging myself and saying, well, what have I done? Or, you know, blah, blah. And then I've been trying to teach myself not to, I'm trying to teach because I've never had trust before. So I'm trying to teach myself how to trust and not panic and start quickly self-doubting immediately. To trust, like I'm learning how to trust. It's not easy.
It's not only the trust factor, ladies and gentlemen, but you know, it's also the time factor.
Yeah,
right?
and the distance.
You know, there's certain things that I would like to have to make me warm and fuzzy, and she knows what it is. But when she does her things, being herself, and me being who I am and what I went through and gone through throughout my life and dealt with throughout my life, she is being punished for it. And I told her and I told her last night or the other night, thank God you did not answer that phone when I called you back, because the wrath of hell was going to be released.
You had already hung up on me. Why would I? Why was I going to answer?
You know, and it's like, you know, and then you look at stuff and you're like, damn. You know,
yeah, because we don't
really
realize.
Makes you think. You don't.
Yeah. Like I was the same, you know, a couple of weeks ago, I talked to you guys about it. I was the same, you know, and then I had to teach myself because, like you, I've got distance issues and time issues as well. Really hard with time, you know, like it's difficult, but I accept it and it's okay. But I have to teach myself not to go down a hole thinking something else is going on when it's not. It's just it's time and it's trust and it's.
Well, I'm constantly now. I know when she rocks, I know exactly what that's representing. Okay, when she does this, because we talked about this. I'm constantly analyzing you. I'm constantly analyzing your voice.
I need a cigarette.
When I say your voice, I'm listening for your tone changes. I'm looking for your micro expressions. I'm looking for the words you use and how you use them and what types of words you use.
And
so
you come in like you're a cop still, and like I'm being here to be interviewed, and that's the wrong way to come into anything.
Yeah, see, that's hard to switch off because I'm ex-information security. You know, like my mind's always in too black and white, I've been told. I get it now because I understand the grey area. But because of the information security headset, similar to law enforcement, you know, you got those certain boundaries and procedures and policies but in a safety security, I tend to do what Grizzy does and in my thoughts as to, but why are you looking away, or why are you scratching your face? I do the body language thing too, not consciously, but you know, after the time's gone, then I come back and I think, oh, you know, I've overreacted, or you know, like it's hard being a person.
Well, not only that, and then you add your abilities on top of that, right? And then, like Sonia can sit in a room with somebody and look at somebody and know exactly what they're thinking, you know, and that's why some people say I've been so successful, and they say it's a blessing, but it's also a curse because, you know, I lost a lot of friendships over it. I've caught a lot of people in lies. You know, but once again, it's behind me, not in front of me like she is, right? So she is the cash register that's always being hit with the till because, okay, I'm picking up this, I'm picking up that, and it's questioning everything. And I apologize to her.
Yeah, and you're not completely, like I told you, if you are not completely in on channeling and being able to pick up stuff, you'll get snippets of stuff from all kinds of places. You'll get outside snippets. You'll get little fill-ins. You can get fill-ins from other people who aren't even have anything to do with the situation. People can think of you and they can be feeling some kind of way and just be thinking of you, like especially with all your stuff online. Anytime somebody reads your name and they could be feeling some kind of way and think of you and they're feeling some kind of way, you can pick that up. You've got to be careful with that. Like all of that. Like so
We're
many.
super protective over you, Grizzy. You super protective. Like Sonia and I are your best guards, honestly. Because
Yeah.
I
No,
totally
she's
understand.
told me. She's told me this before, and I've got a couple of ones that I will lay my life down if I was told to do so by certain
Same here.
people with abilities, because they have never been wrong with anything. Now, the ones that we're talking about, there's different things, and this brings up, about working on the cold cases, missing persons, murder cases, whatever. Everybody picks up on different things. That's why we have everybody segregated and separated, and everybody's not communicating with each other, saying, well, this is what I think. What do you think? This is what I'm picking up. Because I don't want that information tainted. I don't want it to be cross contaminated.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
you have to, that's why you can't be half in or half out with it. You've got to settle somewhere and start to learn how you see those things, because once you start to process those things and those snippets, you'll know what's what. You'll learn how you'll just know. I can't explain it to anybody else. It's different for everybody, but you'll see it differently than you'll see other stuff, and that's how you know. And
There
a
you
lot
go,
of
Jones. I agree.
And also, like with a new thing, like a special new thing, like that you may not have ever had before, you're learning not just love. You're learning mind, body, spirit. And the gift of having all three, which you have, I believe you two have, 100%. It's a new learning curve altogether, because to get to it's not just trusting on one level, it's trusting on three levels. And then you feel that, like, when you get close, you can feel there's no like resistance. It's just all, it all just, it's just
Right.
there.
it's just a
There's
flow.
no
It flows.
restriction, or it's just there. Like in that photo, that drawing of the light and everything, it all just merges into one beautiful. There's no ups and downs. There's no nothing. But when you first get that, if you've never had it before, I don't believe I have. I think I've come close, but because of distance, it could never happen. But that's what I want: the mind, body, spirit. And when you realize that like they'll ring you at the same time you're thinking of them. You'll be typing the same message they're typing on the other end. You just know, like if you just know if they don't feel well, or if you just know that you've got the mind, body, spirit. When you get the mind, body, spirit one, that's a whole new thing, because you're really learning a whole new area of expertise, I guess, because the understanding and the sensitivity is totally different. And so communicate.
Yeah.
You heard that right.
Thank you. But and the thing is, this is what it is. It's like all day long, Grizzly's busy with shows most of the week. Well, after the shows go off at midnight and stuff like that, like I get busy sometimes. And on Fridays and Saturdays, especially when I'm watching my niece and nephew, or my nephews. My niece is not here all the time. But when I'm watching my nephews, I get busy. I get distracted. I can't call him back, and that upsets him. Like, I mean,
I get that,
like
because
I'll go to sleep, but it's like, I know it's an excuse,
It's
but
like, what the hell?
we have different time schedules, and I have a life I have to live.
I would be on a show, and I'd be like, "Hey, baby, how you doing?" And I would mute myself and
Yeah.
wave to her on the other phone.
And then hang up on me. Okay, well, that's cool. I text you throughout the day. I talk to you. You know where I'm at. Like, I'll talk to you, and I'll be like, okay, I'll call you back. Maybe like 1:30 in the morning. I'm trying to get the boys to sleep. And then I'll fall asleep, and then you'll just go completely mad. Good night, Lady Wolf. And you have
Lady Wolf, you've never offended us by any means, shape, fashion.
Yeah,
never.
No.
We're glad you're here, Lady Wolf.
Yes, we're getting ready to go to bed too. So,
super great.
I just wanted to throw it out there because it's really important. Is that people hear people's stories, whether mine. I never let mine out in the air. Now, in the past, well, since with her, it has been, and it's just like, it's weird because I've always been a private person. right?
Open.
So
I'm an open book. I'm an overshare. I can't. I don't have time to lie. I don't have time. And I say that I'm so boring. I'm so flaky with my time, and my time management is
yeah,
horrible.
it
I
is.
mean, and I'm learning to do that. But the last 5 years, I've been alone. I've been sitting here alone. I don't have any friends. I don't have nowhere to be. The only scheduled thing that I ever have to do is watch the kids when they're here. And Grizzly doesn't understand what it's like to watch a 4-year-old autistic child constantly. Constantly, you have to watch him. Keep your eyes on him constantly. He puts stuff in his mouth, and my house is riddled with horrible stuff for kids to choke on. It is. I love miniatures and I love little stuff, and he is the world's worst out putting stuff in his mouth and eating stuff. And I mean, you can't let a kid eat a magnet or one of these weird those little batteries that are in your little
Yeah.
cat balls. If
Yeah.
a kid eats one of those, he'll die. It's stuff like that. And I've got all kinds of stuff here. So I get so frustrated, it drains all my energy. That, and I have to communicate with him most of the time through, through
Psychic.
telekinesis or whatever, telepathy. And it's draining. I don't know how to deal with it yet. I'm still working on it. And I'm working on my time management. I mean, all of this is new to me, having a schedule and having now I haven't had a schedule in 5 years, and now every week I have a scheduled show that is
Yeah.
bringing me out of stuff.
Same.
I
Yeah.
had
Like,
yeah
Shows.
yeah. Like,
I have shows
Yeah.
every week.
like you and
But
I were in the same situation. You and I were in exactly the same situation. And then
we're
Grizzly
soul
came
sisters
along
for sure.
and made us come back into humanity in a way. Because you and I are totally isolated. Like, I don't talk to anyone, I don't see anyone, I don't go anywhere. I'll talk to my 3 kind of, daughter and 2 others. That's it. All
Yeah.
week,
My mom
And if
comes home a couple days a week. Like my
yeah.
sister next door, and like my dogs. I talk for four
Oh,
up
yeah.
until a couple years, like 2 years ago. I would talk out loud, no matter where I was. Like if I went out in the grocery store, I would talk out loud to myself the whole time, and people just staring at me, and me not even care, but me conversating with myself the whole time and answering myself, and people
Yeah.
just be like, and you'd be like, I was giving myself the best information. I was like, it was the only way to calm myself down. And
Yeah.
then I went somewhere with friends, and they were like, "Are you going to talk out loud the whole time?" Was I talking out loud? I didn't even
Yeah, like,
notice, and I still
yeah.
catch myself doing it today.
And it's tricky coming back into the world when you've been like us. Like, it's
I
hard
don't
for the other
feel
person,
lonely.
but it's hard for the other person to understand what we're like. Like, I said to my mate the other day, I said, I don't know how you put up with me. I said, I'm so grateful that you take me for who I am. I said, no one else can figure out what's going on, but he goes along, he believes in me, gives me support. I've never had that in my life. Like, to have someone believe in you and not question everything you do or say, or, and just to that knowing business, Grizz, like that mind, body, spirit thing. It's just this knowing. I don't know what it is, but it's nice. I like it.
Well, just stop and think, ladies and gentlemen, how many people that heard this, listened to it, are going to replay it or rewatch it, and it's going to resonate with them, and they're not
Absolutely.
alone. And
Yeah.
we're not only helping each other by getting it off our chest and
Yeah.
airing our stuff out on air, like I
Yeah.
never usually want to do, but it also
It's
is going to
okay
help
because we're
somebody
all
else
vulnerable.
to help
Yeah.
them with their, like Lady Wolf says, my fiance does the same thing, and I have a rough time with it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
so it
and
resonated with her.
how are
It's
people supposed to, again, like we were talking about that connection when you're talking to people and with therapy and stuff, just how are you really supposed to connect with people if you're not vulnerable with them?
yeah,
It takes
exactly.
you to show somebody to be vulnerable. It's okay. I've been told I'm very intimidating, which I've found out like I'm not intimidating. People are just intimidated. But I can understand where I'm intense and it's like a lot to take in, and I don't lie. So it's probably
Yeah.
best not to be my friend and do something in front of me and somebody asks me about it. I'm like,
Yeah, well, I'm the
sorry.
same.
But like it's that, like it's hard to connect with people like that. It's hard to connect when you're just
I
you,
keep going
and
exactly. I go back to that stagnant pond, And I don't care what anyone talks. I will speak about anything. I don't care, as long as no one gets hurt. But I always think of the stagnant pond. You know, if you've got a yucky stagnant pond, I treat that as inside, you know, and you're not talking. As soon as you chuck a rock in that pond, you've got a new ring. You've got splashes where the water and the gunk's gone off and it's chucked on the side of the bank. That's allowing new energy in. If you keep that all in you could be circling around for no reason, and it's nothing like that. If you get an outsider's opinion or a voice or a cuddle or whatever, you realize, oh my God, you might have been holding on to that for 15 years. You know, as soon as you start to let it all out, it allows all new stuff to come in. Fresh, clean, you know, enjoyable, happy, good things. If you don't chuck that rock in that pond will end up a big clay pile. Nothing.
Take stuff as what it is and enjoy your moments instead of trying to figure out what it is that you're trying to achieve. You know, like, you know, I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's hard to be in the now and not include the past scars in the now. And for the person that you're with that doesn't know about the scars, to understand why you're like you are when you react or respond, and for that to keep okay depending on the understanding and the sensitivity of each other. You know, like you could attack or you can cuddle or you can, you know, say,
for me, like I've been taught patience, well, besides interrupting people when they're talking. But to be patient, like, is the biggest thing. I think people just, you know, like you said, they react immediately, and that can be the bigger blow up than just calming down and stepping back and taking it in for a moment. And that goes with anything, bad things, good things.
Yeah. Like if you say, my dad used to say, he could just see the look in my eyes. Like I didn't need to say anything much. And Dad would immediately say, Catherine, stay out of it. You know?
Yeah.
And before I'd even say anything, he could see me ticking over or about flames. I don't know what he'd see, but he'd say, Catherine, stay out of it. But it never sunk in. It didn't sink in for years and years and years and years. Probably still hasn't. But he did teach me how to breathe instead of reacting. I'm teaching myself to respond instead of react much better. So I try, and if I know I'm going to say something wrong or explode or turn around and viciously give some sort of body waddle as I walk away rather than say something, now I'm teaching myself to count to 10 before I respond, because that cuts me off from reacting instead of responding. Just by counting to 5, I've already cut off the react. So after 5, I'm okay then, because I'm going to respond instead of, you know, blow up.
Right.
It gets rid of that. It gives you that time frame too of the self-doubt or the self. I hurt myself. You know, on and off. You know, you go into that negative talk, then I blow myself up with my hurts and I fix it. But the counting to 10 really helps, because like I say, by the time you get to that 5, you're starting to ground by that time. You're tuning in. You know, you're calmer. And then the next 5, you've had time to think how to respond, you know, or instead of reacting. It kind of helps a lot, because I tend, because of you know, defensiveness, self-defense, you know, all these things that have happened and all that sort of stuff, I tend to react instead of respond, because it's a protection thing, like, you know, instead of, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, when my dad died, he told me just to be silent. He said, for once in your life, just be silent and let things go the way they were. And he was right, you know, like he was right.
Our daddies must have known, Sonia.
Their own holes. Everybody, truth comes to light.
It does. And I hope that everybody or somebody, whoever it is, or they may be, learn something from tonight's show. you have many different angles to look at things. So hopefully, you have some takeaways from it. So
yeah. And like anytime anyone's got something they think they can't talk about or they think it's out there or whatever, doesn't matter. You can come here. You won't be judged. It's an open, non-anxiety space here. You can talk about anything.
I'm riddled with anxiety. Don't let them lie to you. Always anxious. No, this is definitely a safer space. A safe space.
Exactly.
You can't have a completely safe space, but you can have a safer space, than normal.
I shake before the shows, like I'm nervous. And then Saturday, the night beforehand, like last night, like I'm actively thinking about it all the time. What will I say? Oh, I hope I don't say the wrong thing, la, 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 la. But like I have anxiety, I do. But, it's okay. Everybody's got issues, or if they don't have issues, they can help us. So as long as we spill the beans, then
that's a really good point. I love that.
And I'm glad you got the new book too. That was very interesting.
Like as long as we spill the beans and and it's out there, then we can all help each other. If we're in that muddy pond, you don't want to go down that quicksand. Come on here, we'll get you out of the quicksand.
It's hard to get better in the place you got sick, and that's mostly up here. For most of the people, it's in here.
Yeah.
And you heard it, ladies and gentlemen, from coast to coast and around the world. This is Cat Chit Chat's Corner with.
Thanks,
Sonia.
everyone. I love you all.
Yeah, I love you too, Kat. Thank you for having me.
Love you guys. Y'all take care. We'll see you next week.
Take care. Thanks for
Bye,
having
everybody.
me. Bye.
Good night.
It's a grizzly.
Should we get out of here?
No. We're gonna watch and listen.
Action.
It's a grizzly.
Oh, shit, should we run?
No.
Action.
It's a grizzly.
Oh, shit, should we run?
Okay. It's a grizzly.
Are you sure it's not Chipmunk? Action. No, I'm out of here. Action.
It's a grizzly.
I'm out of here.
Huh. Maybe it is a chipmunk. It's a grizzly.
Are we gonna die?
I don't know. We're just gonna sit here and listen and watch.
Let's get out of here, maybe.
Fall!